Well, since there's, agenda's reduction, and I see we got stuff set up, do we need something on the first?
Well, I got an option before we start into the bloodshed. I've been looking up. I remember when we went to the DLGF up in Indianapolis back in February about us not having any LOIT. We do not have a local optional income tax. And they frowned on it because they said, well, you haven't hit your caps. So we haven't hit our circuit breaker caps because our rate isn't that high. So I kept looking into it, and we do have another option. We can do an appeal. And here's what I'm going to propose. Our rate in the state of Indiana, we're like one of the lowest counties with the rate we have per population. Everybody else that has about the same population as us, we have 3 point. Everybody else is like 6, much more than us. Now, if it's the county general we're talking about, we had a 0.189. Fayette County, this is last year. But anyway, Fayette County, Rush County, anybody else that has about our same tax rate have a much higher tax rate than us. We're not tapping in. I think the problem was years ago, and it's just an honest mistake, the county council froze the budget. And when you freeze the budget, you didn't add for expansion of your inflation. So every time we froze the budget, rolled it over, froze the budget, we were then losing money every year because your gas has gone up, your anything to do with your fuel or has all gone up. Insurance has gone up, everything. So the appeal process you can do. The appeal process is under code 6-1.1-18.5-12, allows a qualified unit to appeal to the department for relief from its levy. Limitations after the unit has determined that it cannot carry out its government functions under those levy limitations for the ensuing calendar year. There's 8 pages under the Department of Local Government Finance. And what it is a series of questions, and the department will not approve an appeal if doing so gives the unit a fund balance of 10% or more. I don't think we'll have a problem if we do our work. General factors to evaluate the department is what is the percent of increase of the rate for the appeal and what is the percent increase of the levy due to the appeal. It asked about our rainy day funds. We should not have any rainy day funds. So I'm kind of going to propose to look at that we move forward on doing an appeal. We have to liquidate our rainy day funds, which is $750,000. The contingency is $450,000, which will make it about $1.2 million. Now, like I said, that will leave about $300,000 to cut out of the budget, which, after looking at it, I can easily do without hurting most of the units of government. Right. Now, if we do that, of course, 2015, if we don't get this levy increase, like I said, maybe we fail at the appeal, then we're going to look at 2015 with a little bit of a harder cutting. But I have a feeling after looking at all these figures and stuff that I compare to, and all my figures come out of the county government statistical report for 2013 from the Farm Bureau. I might think Darryl forgive me that. But anyway, I personally think we have a very good case to win our appeal. The bad part of it is it's going to raise taxes, but it's going to happen anyway. I don't know who all gets the Connersville newspaper, but the Saturday edition had the state of Indiana. Last quarter, last year, they made $40 million short on sales tax and income tax. This last quarter, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Sprague, they were $54 million short. So they're $90 million short coming into this year, not collecting all the income tax because either people are laid off or lower income brackets or whatever. And then the sales tax, nobody's buying it, they're buying, propane or whatever. So that's going to hit the counties. That 90 million will definitely trickle down and whop us in the head. So that's what I want to present to the council, is that we go for an appeal to, and this is due, this whole thing is due by August 1st, to the Department of Local Government Finance. And like I said, it's going to be kind of like a report of our history and the things we have done. I am still wanting to work with council on giving the raises. That's probably the biggest thing, is Franklin County has the lowest paying elected officials per size of the county, and so are the workers. So, I'll take any questions or anybody?
So for next year, then 2015, the taxes would be raised, and then that would create more money.
More revenue.
And we wouldn't be in this situation again.
Correct.
Or,
What it was, council just, whenever they froze their budget, they didn't take allowance for the inflation consequence. In their good judgment, they were thinking they were helping, but see, it just didn't pan out with all the increase and the lack of funding coming back from the state. What are you going to do when the state just gives you a token of what you used to get, and just like I said, the jail now is supposed to be housing more prisoners, because now the state's thrown that back at the county. So see, we got a lot of things we have to weigh in, but after looking at the figures and comparing ourselves to all the other counties our size, we are the lowest one on the totem pole, and I think we have a good case. And Roy?
When you say we're at the low totem pole, are we also at the low totem pole as far as revenue coming in compared to the other counties that you're looking at?
Well, you can look at Connersville's got maybe a little more industry than us,
Right.
so their tax base may be more, but their rate was higher. And
When you say rate, what rate are you speaking of?
both, either it's county general or the
Just
total
county general?
tax rate, yeah. Right.
What was your rate in county general last year?
It was, well, you're having me fish around on the papers. Well, I've been here.
Now, that's all you're speaking about is county general, right?
Property tax rate for last year was approximately 0.18%.
Yeah.
Approximately 0.18%. This year, it's 0.1715.
Okay, you lost a little.
Yeah.
Well, no, we didn't lose anything. What we did was we moved the rate over to health and park, because every year the health and park has a cash flow issue. So when we thought that we could use the $3.2 million of savings to float the budget, general was going to be okay because it had a bigger cash balance. So we moved the rate over to the others so they would generate more funds this year. So maybe we can get out of the loans every year that we have to do.
Yeah. Now, if you go, Rebecca, what you're saying, there would be an added tax put on, applied to the,
It just up your county tax on everybody.
oh,
like real estate tax, you mean,
Right,
property tax.
property taxes,
Yeah.
correct.
Can you get that done in a short time?
This won't take effect. If we do all of our paperwork and submit it in, this won't take effect till next year. It won't do anything for this year.
Basically, what you're saying is, right now, we're handcuffed by the growth quotient. The amount that our county general is gonna grow every year is by the growth quotient. Doesn't
Well,
matter whether revenues go up or whatever, our funding cap is, if the growth quotient is 3%, we're gonna be at 3%. So you're saying with this appeal, that we can try to get a higher growth than
Yeah.
3%?
yeah,
How much can you go up? There is a max.
isn't it 5%? There's where I'm gonna follow you, because we're at 2.6. And if we can nudge it up, because like I said, Fayette County, their county general rate is .646, ours is .189. This was last year's. And then their county tax last year was .835, and ours was .4. And if you look at, I think at Rush County, theirs was .42 for the county general. Again, ours was .18. So see, everybody else is substantially more, generating more taxes, but we've been kind of sitting still and seeing how everything has ate up our funds. Yes, ma'am.
Lloyd is a local option income tax, but is that, and then how is it also a property tax?
Lloyd is local optional income tax. So I think it's on your income tax, but it freezes your rate, your county rate, property tax. Now, when we was up there at DLGF, they kind of said you don't want to do that because she says you haven't capped. That's those circuit breakers at 1%, 2%, and 3%. We haven't even begun to get near the circuit breakers, and that's what they're talking about. Our rate is still low enough, we're still under the circuit breakers. So we got some play, and we can raise taxes unfortunately, but to operate this county, like I said, we can't be cutting people and cutting hours or anything, or else we might as well just shut county government down, and I know most people would say hallelujah, but you wouldn't have any roads, you know, bridges, you have to have your county employees.
Any other questions?
That was just my suggestion, so it's not set in stone.
I got a question. How certain are you that this could get approved?
After reading all the questions in this 8-page thing, I feel pretty good. I really do, because of the fact our only option would be to almost shut down Franklin County.
Well, it's coming eventually if things ain't changed.
Well, that's why I looked into this appeal process, and it looks like, you know, there's already counties that have already maxed out their rate and have even done Lloyd. And I just seen a letter from the DLGF where we're not the only ones. We're not the only ones that are you know, kind of lost in the dark here. But there's counties out there that have maxed everything, and they are going under. I've heard one county had to cut 39%. So if you think this is bad, I mean, like I said, we do have some leeway. If I feel good about applying for this, I would get an attorney up in Indianapolis to help, you know, go over this and make sure we do this right. But I just wanted to get this out, and that's, like I said, this is, let's say this is option number one. I don't know if anybody else has other ideas or. Under this, we would cut, like I said, some out of the budget, but not a lot. We just go through, and most of the county elected offices would still have quite a good working budget, because I do know after being you can't cut some of these offices, or you're not gonna have tax statements out, you're not gonna be having money moving. I don't even wanna go there.
How much revenue do you think this is gonna raise?
Well, that's
Figured it
what we
out.
gotta sit, no, I haven't figured it out.
If we got 5%.
Oh, that would
You
seem-
said you think 5% is the maximum increase, that would take our tax rate to 0.22%. It's only gonna generate $480,000.
That's 480,000 we didn't have before. Like I said, I know we will have to cut,
We're cutting 1.5.
Bring
Still
it
$1 million.
about a third. Bring it about a third of what you really need.
It's still $1 million, and we just blew our $750,000 rainy day fund.
But then on the other hand, you gotta look at what you tried to say 2 weeks ago. Property tax on agricultural land is gonna increase. I don't know how the state figures that in advance. I know they try. How close do they get? You would know better than I. They did take an increase. And from what I understand, there's gonna be another increase on agricultural land next year and the following year. Am I right?
They can increase, your assessments may go up, and the assessed value of the property may go up.
Right.
But your budget's only gonna grow based on the growth quotient,
Yeah, there's a limit on that.
which is 3. Right now, this year was 2.6%.
The maximum amount of money that we're going to get next year revenue, if nothing changes, is going to be about 3 or 4% at the most, more than what we got this year.
Okay.
Because the growth quotient, the average of the income of the last 6 years, is the max, that the average income increase in the last 6 years is the amount of increase that your levy can increase next year. Your levy being the maximum amount of money that the county can get from property tax. The rate and the assessment are adjusted to equal that number. So if your assessment goes up, your rate will go down. If your assessment goes down, your rate will go up so that you collect that amount of money.
Yeah.
So we're looking at collecting next year in revenue off property taxes about 2 or 3% more, depending on what the growth quotient is in property taxes. And in our gadget tax, we'll probably meet somewhere around whatever, or somewhere around that too. That's pretty minor, really, when
It's
it's
about
about
$68,000.
Is that right?
unless something like that happens. And that, I look at that as more of a long-term solution. We have a long-term problem and we have a short-term problem. And tonight we need to concentrate. Are you done? I mean, I don't want
yeah, go ahead.
We need to concentrate also on the short-term problem. And Aaron and I have put together a proposal. It's 3 pages long. The first page, we started out with a needing to cut $1.32 million because of the amount of money that was left over from last year's budget was just slightly more than what we had thought. When we stuck that in, we reworked the 1782 just on our own to see how it worked out. And $1.32 million will make us zero at the end of the year. If we cut that.
It's 1.3.
1.3. It went from 1.5 to 1.3. In 2014, Cadget Fund, we had unappropriated balance that we can spend. We can move general expenses over to the Cadget Fund of $58,595. We got unspent Cadget funds from 2013 of $378,222. And we need to move general expenses over to that. Aaron and I have come up with some reductions from Cadget. I'll go over them now. They're just down a little bit further on your page if you're looking there under Cadget reductions. Cut county council contingency, $340,000. County council miscellaneous operating supplies, $200. Travel, $400. Conference and seminars, $360. Consulting services, $5,000. Out of Cadgett Cemetery, we'll cut $11,000. Out of the Commissioner's Cadgett, we propose to cut health insurance by $36,000. The EMS contract is a negative number because council hasn't dealt with this problem. So we had to add $50,000 back into their Cadgett. Detained juveniles, cut $31,000. Care of inmates in state facility, cut $10,000. Machinery and equipment, cut $700. Anderson Community Center, $5,000. Franklin County Citizens Brookville, $6,000. Franklin County 4-H, $4,500. For a total of $404,860. The fourth part on page 1 is the elimination of the Economic Development Department and refunneling the amount of money that went from economic development tax to the economic development fund into the general fund. This should amount to about $52,000. The little caveat there is that council can't do that by themselves. Council has to have the commissioners to move that money.
You're talking about the line for Franklin County Economic Development in the Commissioner's budget?
Yeah.
No?
The 3-year plan that you write for edit funds.
Do what?
Commissioners write a 3-year plan for edit funds.
Oh, okay. You're not talking about the money that's in the account already?
No, the amount of money that's in the fund now, the $86,000 plus that's in that fund now, will stay in that fund.
But he's talking about
But the
redirecting the ordinance to put.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
We pick up approximately $52,050 there. For a total of $893,726. And then where do I come in with the moves from Cadgett?
Down at the bottom.
Down at the bottom, moves from Cadgett, from general to Cadgett. This is simply moving expenses that would have been paid out of general, and we're moving them over to the Cadgett fund to be paid. Years ago, the state allowed us to commingle Cadgett funds with the general funds, and it was a little bit easier on council to budget. Now they insist that we keep those two funds separate, those two taxes separate. We have separate funds, but we can move expenses in between those funds. So by moving $532,000 from general expenses to Cadgett expenses, we can use that money that's left over in the Cadgett fund. So
Still leaves $360,000 and some change, you see there. That still needs to be moved from general to Cadgett. Those ones that down at the bottom, those were just the quick ones that we could identify that were larger amounts. It doesn't matter to Darrell or I, or it shouldn't matter to any of us here in the room, which lines those are that get moved over there. They still get paid, you process your claims the same. It's just, you'll have two budget sheets. You'll have a Cadgett, say for instance, if it was the sheriff would have Sheriff General and Sheriff Cadgett. And that, the ones like police pension would be in Cadgett and we get paid out of that. So we're basically saying the other $360,000, we're gonna bless Steve and his office with deciding which lines are the easiest accounting moves to make to move over there.
yeah. So in order to do this part of this plan, we're going to need to advertise this and make these moves at our April 1st meeting. Does anybody else have anything else? Any questions?
The other point to be made is that by doing these moves, we just went from $1.3 million to $426,000 left to cut. from general.
1.3 to what?
From 1.3 to 427.
Shortfall, right? You're still.
Still in the red,
Yeah.
numbers red,
Right.
follow the bouncing ball.
Well, you got closer to coming out.
Well, we're not done yet.
Okay.
This is the first page of 3 kind of separate parts of our proposal. We kind of broke it down into 3 parts. This is the part that we consider to be a no-brainer. It should be easier for council to see these moves and make these moves. I don't see anybody else with any questions.
I'm ready for page 2.
Will that bottom out our
You ready
contingency?
for page 2?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a page
Will
two.
bottom out our
Before we
contingency.
move on to page 2, though, Tom, there's one thing that I want to do. And I kind of talked to a couple of commissioners about the edit in the economic development. On economic development, the redevelopment commission is supposed to be getting a grant. I don't think they've gotten the interlocal agreement yet, so it's not a done deal. But we need to get the commissioners to start moving on redoing that 3-year plan for the edit fund. And to that effect, I would move that council at,
Hang on a minute. I have one question
okay,
before you make a motion.
go ahead.
In there, Tom, while we're talking about this, we had the health insurance. We were budgeted 1.1. We cut $36,000 out of there because that's basically what we spent last year. Is that an accurate number? Do you know? Can you tell us that? We've asked for that number from the other
It is.
Tom
And Tom and I, we reviewed that, and we are comfortable in taking another couple $100,000 out of there. We've got, Carol, do you know we've got 1.225, something like that right now? And we're comfortable in going down to 1.1, and we're gonna have more receivables coming into that account. So I'm telling you, you've got our grace to go to, our approval to take that to 200, 250.
Now that, you're talking about the health insurance,
Yes.
self-health insurance plan that our employees pay into and the
Yes.
county pays into.
Yes.
See, I don't like that.
We need to see an expert, we need to have an expert come in and tell us, Tom, what the prudent number is for that amount. I'm not an insurance expert, I don't know, but I need to have somebody in the industry come in and explain to me how much money we need to keep in that thing, because I do not want to underfund our health fund.
Yeah.
He says $1 million is what we need to keep in the reserve fund to be able to cover emergencies, whatever might happen. He said you should at least have $1 million in that reserve. Yeah.
This is
This
is the representative from Edmond.
Actually, you can find State Board of Account audit reports on it, where they've gone into other counties and said they're holding too much money.
Or did they amount and say in those audit reports how much should actually be there?
Around $1 million.
So that's why I'm saying you can take $250,000 if you need it. 200,000 would be nice, quarter if you need it. And if you're wanting proof, I don't know, Carol, you got any idea who to bring in, tell them?
Well, our insurance broker would be Mike Kramer from Pinnacle Group.
Yeah.
He's the one that leads us in the right direction.
Yeah.
But he said in that, in the reserve, it should be $1 million to cover. Well,
That's a minimum million.
That's our,
Can you set that up sometime? Because that's,
Absolutely.
we need to,
Jeff, you got it.
Jeff.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, actually, is it okay, I was in here, sure. How's everybody doing? My name's Andrew Norman. I don't know if I've met everybody, but I'm the local public health coordinator here in Franklin County. My role generally is to do public health emergency preparedness stuff, advise the commissioners on public health things, stuff like that. But I wanted to talk just a couple minutes real quick about health insurance and kind of my background. My background is kind of in healthcare quality and cost management. And I wanted to talk real quick about evidence-based self-administered health insurance and kind of what that means and what our current insurance is, and kind of bring you up to speed about how we currently are, what the other options are for insurance. So just real quick, Franklin County spends roughly $13,800 per employee per year on healthcare. And just kind of keep that number in your mind, because it's going to be kind of important here in a second. And then the Institute of Healthcare Improvement, which is a nationwide initiative established by the Institute of Medicine, which is a portion of the National Academy of Sciences, says that they define value as health conveyed versus dollars spent, right? So the amount of health care that we give to somebody and the way we improve somebody's health versus the dollars we spend on that overall health care cost. And then there's three types of insurance systems, right? We all know there's you can have major carrier insurance, that's an option. You can have self-funded insurance, which is what we have. Instead of a self-funded plan, you collect the dollar value from the folks, and then you also have the county put in money. And then you have some stop-loss coverage, so if there's a major claim, you're covered. And you also have a third-party administrator where you kind of, if you will, buy network coverage for the organization. So for example, we use Pinnacle, right? Is that correct? So we buy coverage from the Pinnacle Insurance Company that's already pre-negotiated health insurance network, right? And then the third option is a self-administered plan, where we wouldn't buy health insurance from an organization. We would then broker our own deals with major market providers in the region. And I guess one point I want to make here before we go on is if there wasn't money involved in third-party administrator work, nobody would be a third-party administrator, right? So if there wasn't financial value to it, nobody would be doing the business, right? So there's certainly, I guess to keep in the back of your mind, there's certainly some value here that we can maybe tangibilize, if you will, if that's even a word. I guess the average U.S. company spends roughly $10,500 per employee per year on healthcare insurance, which puts us quite a bit above the average U.S. company. And just by looking at some historical records, we are in about the top 5 of counties in the state of Indiana for per employee healthcare coverage. So we spend that 1.38. We insure roughly 100 people. 13,800. We insure roughly 100 people. That's 1.38 million, roughly a year, give or take a little bit. That number might be slightly off. There are companies out there. One company in particular, and the reason I chose this one is because they recently gave a presentation at the Institute of Medicine on value-based spending and how they are kind of innovating the field of healthcare management and identifying better insurance methods. Purdue Farms is the third largest poultry processor in the United States. They're based in Salisbury, Maryland. This number is going to blow your mind. They spend roughly $4,000 per employee per year in healthcare costs. And I guess the question is how do they do that? What do they do that's different than what we do? Well, they have what they call a self-administered evidence-based plan design. And so we talked about self-administration and how that works, right? We would then network our own providers. Certainly, we would have to have an employee that would do this. There's not an existing structure for us to network providers. But one of the perks to our current system is, we're already in a major healthcare market here in the greater Cincinnati area. So just off the top of my head, I can think of 3 or 4 major healthcare networks that we could tap into. And I guess some people's thought might be, is our buying power value enough for these healthcare networks to want to purchase? Well, I would contend that absolutely our buying power is. I mean, we're dealing with, just in primary care alone, we're dealing with over $250,000 of healthcare dollars that are going out there into the community. And right now, those $250,000 are getting funneled through Pinnacle and then into the healthcare system. So some concepts, and I don't want to take too much time, but some of these base concepts of evidence-based plan design is push folks to receive appropriate science-based interventions, things that are based on current trends in healthcare and medical research, which is something that insurance companies are already trying to do, but the organizations are so massive that it's almost impossible for an organization like a Blue Cross Blue Shield or whatever, a Pinnacle, to drive this sort of organization. The second, I guess another part of this is that it would push folks with certain disorders, kind of the, if you will, the 7 deadly diseases, as I like to call them, with diabetes, hypertension, asthma, coronary artery disease, congestive heart failure, depression, high cholesterol. It would force those folks to see their primary care provider 5 times a year. And research has shown that folks with these conditions that see their primary care provider 5 more times a year have a significant reduction in overall healthcare costs because their care is being managed more appropriately. The second big thing is it pulls folks away from procedures and events that have been scientifically proven to have low or negative value. So this is what we would call kind of cost or value-based spending. So we would identify, again, through an expert that we would hire and national trends in health insurance management. We would identify what are high value, high dollar plans, where you get the most bang for your buck, if you will, or services, and then what are kind of low value services. And I guess one good example of this is the current research, current science shows that folks that are getting cardiac catheterization who aren't having heart attacks are getting a low bang for their buck, right? So there's a lot of cost there, and there's not a lot of value to the person. Whereas folks that are getting cardiac catheterization and they are having heart attacks, there's a lot of value. So that's just one example of hundreds of examples that we could actualize cost savings. And then the third thing is to help folks increasingly have real treatment options with different costs. So we would, identify treatment options versus costs for the employees. So they had the option to choose their treatment options based on how they feel appropriate to spend this cash that we have set aside. And I guess the question is, the overarching question, how much money can we save, right? Let's say, as far as self-funded plans, that average company cost is on the high end, $10,500. Companies like Purdue are about $4,000. Let's say we didn't do so great at it. We were mediocre at our self-administered health insurance plan. We could save maybe $5,000 per employee per year, which would put us at about $8,800 per employee per year total healthcare cost, which would actualize a $500,000 cost savings over 12 months. And I think that's not $10. We're talking actual cash that could be actually saved. And meanwhile, the difference between a self-administered plan and, say, a self-funded plan is that we have value. I mean, we value our employees. So our employee health is the most important thing to us, right? We want to make sure we have healthy and happy employees, because healthy and happy employees, and I think this is the overall bottom line, healthy and happy employees give the taxpayer the biggest bang for the buck, right? If we don't have folks missing work, if we don't have sick days, all these things, so the taxpayer can come in and do their work, and that gives the taxpayer the biggest bang for the buck, and it gives the employee the biggest bang for the buck, because they're getting kind of overall higher level coverage. So that's what I had. I guess, anybody have any questions? Or yeah, go ahead.
Do you present this to the commissioners, because they're the ones that do all the contracts on their health insurance?
You know what, we had a cursory discussion. It was nothing in depth. I only spoke with one commissioner, kind of a brief cursory thing. And as this was kind of rolling, I was doing more and more kind of research into the present trends and kind of culminated here with this, what I have this evening. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Because,
Actually, I should be the one raising my hand. You guys are the boss.
well, I always wondered why, if we're spending so much money and we got so much money in the self-help, why can't the county cut back donating and is there any kind of leeway? I know it's a contract. That's why I kind of frown on it when you start taking money. I feel like we're like the federal government and Social Security. We're taking money out of something that the employees have put in, and I know the county, but can the county cut back putting in, if we got so much money, and let it ride? Unless you do something different, like you said.
Well, we're looking. That's what I'll say. I think Andy's got a good point, if we can run our health care for $500 million less, man, we gotta go there, But again, it's not gonna be overnight, it's gonna take time.
Oh, I know. Everything's gonna take
Yeah.
time, but I know we
The
have to.
administrator we'd have to hire, what level?
Yeah, generally speaking, somebody like this would have either a bachelor's or master's degree in healthcare administration and some, maybe 2 or 3 years of insurance program administration. And I would guess that person, including your FICA and all that stuff, you could probably get by with budgeting maybe like $70,000 to $75,000
I
per
was gonna
person.
say 80.
Highest paid county for it.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean,
Aside from three.
including, that would be, including your FICA benefits and insurance and stuff like that. But another thing to, I guess, keep in mind is you get what you pay for, and you have a person managing millions of dollars of overall county funds every year.
You got that guy right there. Ron gets paid 30, and she makes millions.
So I think there's value to it.
That same person can do human resources too?
I think that this would probably be a full.
that would have to be a human resource person.
But anyway,
I think you got some good points, but it's nothing that's.
Yeah, that's
fixed
right.
tonight.
Yeah,
This is a down the road.
We're 18, 24 months out.
Absolutely.
We need to continue this discussion.
Yep, perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions on that before I go on? Okay. The first thing, going back to the edit fund and the monies from there, I want to move that council send a letter to the Franklin County Commissioners asking them to redirect the edit funds currently going to the Franklin County Economic Development Fund and redirect them funds to the county general. That the county council president signed the reductions to the economic development fund in the amount of $52,050. That the auditor advertised such reductions for the April 1st meeting.
Second that motion.
All right, a motion has been made and seconded. Is there a question?
I'd like to add,
I thought that money that Daryl's talking about was the grant money. And how, if that is grant money, how can we be using it for something it's not supposed to be used for?
It's not grant money. That's the money, that's the edit tax that's going in there. The grant money is the money that's gonna go into the redevelopment commission. That's an entirely different thing. The redevelopment commission can fund the entire economic development, redevelopment commission together. And Lawrenceburg can pay that bill.
The economic development tax from IC 6-35-713-1, revenues from the, these are excerpts from it, revenues from the county economic development tax may be used as follows: by a county, city, or town, by a county, city, or town for any lawful purpose for which money in any of its other funds may be used. And that's where we get the ability to, but this, later in this law, it also directs that the commissioners are in charge of directing where that money goes.
now, you got a part-time person, is this wiping out everything in economic development? How's that affect you, Mr. Sherman?
First of all, I just have to say that number 52 may not be directly correct because already this money has been extended out there, I would assume. So you have to be careful. So I've been here before when you guys make $500 to $1,700 mistakes. Never to watch that number, but anyway. And at the same time, I think that Daryl's point would be a redevelopment, and so that's where the whole thing comes into play. It's a shift of whether redevelopment can continue to do the job of economic development. And so if that's doable, redevelopment would be doing this via a grant. And so as far as the part-time help, when that grant was requested, some of those funds were requested for the purpose of possibly hiring a director or personnel. So I still say that you have a tax-based issue, and that's what economic development is all about. It's creating to help support that idea. So you don't want to axe the hand that's supposed to be helping lift you up. But at the same time, I think part of what Daryl's saying is that he thinks it could be swayed over to redevelop. And so I believe that we could operate at a little bit higher level from an economic development with our volunteer system we have in place right now. And redevelopment might be the actual solution to helping us do that because they have that grant that they could operate off of, at least for 2014 for that. I mean, and so
The other alternative that you have is you have a cash balance in that fund, in the economic development fund, from the edit tax.
We have
96,000, I think.
$96,000 sitting
in there
there.
currently.
That if they wanted to continue to fund a part-time person and pay a couple dues for association dues, like the byway or whatever, they would just have to make an additional appropriation to us to come from their savings into that line. But the money that's coming from the edit tax is gonna go to the general fund to help bail us out.
But we need to advertise the 52,050, and then at our meeting in April, we need to decide exactly how much of that 5250 we want to cut.
How can you advertise something that's not there?
Is there?
It is there.
You're using money, it's already almost April.
How much is actually been spent?
Well, that's what you need to know. You can't
Well,
advertise.
we will know that at the April 1st.
But if we
meeting.
advertise for 52,050,
We don't
there's
have-
only $38,000 there, then we just change our reduction. We can't advertise for 38,000 and then cut 52. We have to advertise for more and then cut less. But we have to have the reductions advertised or we cannot make this happen by.
So a motion has been made and seconded to have the commissioners redirect edit tax funds in the amount of $52,050 into the county general fund. And this will be advertised and the reduction will be done at the April 1st meeting. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
Bill's got a question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask that in the event we are going to then take some of that savings that we have with those edit funds and possibly use that to move it over, is that something that we can initiate now? By a motion up there or what?
You have to do additional.
Actually, what we would be doing, Bill, is if we say we wanted to only leave, say we wanted to leave you 20,000, just say, and we were going to cut 30,000 of it instead of the 52, we would cut the 30,000. There's no money going in there. It would automatically take out of your cash balance that you have there, however much you spent. We wouldn't have to do anything to, it wouldn't be a hindrance to you being able to do something in April.
Or that line that says part-time help isn't going to show up as 000.
It will after the meeting.
After the meeting in May, what we're going to do
You guys, if he wants to spend out of his savings, okay, if you want to reduce him, he has to do reduction and then additional.
We're doing the
for-
reduction.
Right.
We will have to put an additional
But you know what I'm saying,
appropriation.
you have to do reduction and you have to do additional
We're
to
doing the
get
reduction.
his money back into play.
You'll have to put an additional appropriation in
Yeah,
to Steve.
yeah.
Is the deadline passed for the next meeting, yes, Steve?
April 1st, is it, probably?
Yeah. See, you gotta watch their payroll.
This
So
Monday
you have
coming up?
money in payroll.
This Monday coming up,
I saw
Bill.
that we planned this game 3 months down the road up in there.
It's this Monday, Bill.
Yeah,
It's this Monday coming up, correct, Steve?
yes.
You need to have your additional appropriation in by this Monday coming up to spend it out of savings.
Now, I've got one head shake, no, I've got one yes, and I've been here before.
I work for the county, you guys, yeah, if you're gonna do reduction of his lines, because you're wanting to take that money, you're doing a reduction, therefore, you're zeroing out some of his lines to get the money out.
Right.
And then you
Yeah,
gotta
you're
do.
right.
But what we don't do,
Appropriation.
Holly, is
We're not taking that.
we don't zero out the money in the lines that he wants to keep. We only zero out the lines, he's gonna come in here and talk to us on April 1st, I hope. And he's gonna tell us which lines we can take out.
Yeah, I was confused, I'm sorry.
I know, I'm just.
We're not
saying,
getting that money.
If you were gonna choose, yeah. all
We
of
don't
them.
get that money until they pass the ordinance, and as soon as they pass the ordinance, that's when that money will start going in.
Are they gonna
So
pass
there is
it?
already money in that account. We're just gonna reduce his fund by the bare bones of what he needs to operate.
Is the commissioners on board?
Yes.
Okay.
Budget reductions. that's the middle part of that page up there. Has anybody got any questions before I go on any further? Okay, I move that we have the auditor prepare and advertise reductions for County Council Cadgett, Cemetery Cadgett, Commissioners Cadgett, the total amount of, and I have $404,860 here. I do have one question. Do we want to raise that to $604,000 in case the commissioners come back and want to cut $200,000 out of insurance? Let's leave it where it is.
I'd say we leave it where it's at.
I'll start over. I move that we have the auditor prepare and advertise reductions from County Council Cadgett, Cemetery Cadgett, Commissioners Cadgett, the total amount of $404,860, and have the council president sign such reductions. That the auditor also advertise this for the April 1 meeting, reference 24 budget cuts, 2014 budget cuts, version 27, Cadgett reductions and accounting moves as presented by Aaron Leffingwell and Darrell Kramer.
A motion's been made to have the auditor advertise the reductions for Cadgett, Council Cadgett, Cemetery Cadgett, Commissioners Cadgett.
A second.
Aaron Leffingwell seconds. All in favor, raise your right hand. Are you up?
Up.
Okay. All opposed, raise your right hand.
I voted twice. What was the motion?
I voted against. Who else?
The motion was to do this, Mayor.
The motion's carried.
There's yet one more motion for that page. Yeah. The very bottom of the page, moves from general to Cadgett. I move that we have the president of council sign reduction cuts in general fund and additionals to Cadgett in the amount of $532,999. That the auditor also advertises for the April 1 meeting, reference this page here, 2014 budget cuts, version 27, Cadgett reductions and accounting moves, as presented by Darrell Kramer and Aaron Leffingwell.
Second.
Motion has been made for moving from general to Cadgett, from the jail, sheriff, and sheriff totaling $532,998.95. Aaron Leffingwell seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand.
I got a question.
I'm sorry.
You're gonna move this, why don't we cut some of this?
It already has been cut.
Medical services?
Medical services and meals, they were both appropriated $125,000 each. And when the sheriff sent in his proposals, he cut both of those by those amounts.
Okay, that's food for thought. So, and also the computer maintenance?
That was not cut, but that's all contractual.
How about the police pension? That's just saying you're just moving it over there?
Yeah. Basically, this is an accounting move that puts these expenses over into the Cadgett fund from general to help balance the general budget.
So when they want something paid, it won't be an additional appropriation?
No.
Not unless they run out of that money right there.
Unless they spend more than that amount of money.
If the sheriff ends up having to spend $125,000 in medical services, he's gonna have to come back for an additional appropriation of $34,000. And that's what he said in his proposal that he sent out to Steve, and Steve gave to us.
How many county offices sent in reductions on their budgets?
You gonna go to the office and get it? Steve had one.
I went in yesterday, there was nothing in my,
No, we
But
had to ask
then-
for it. We had to ask for it.
how many were there, Steve? Was it 3, 4?
I'll tell you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
And those are all accounted for?
There's 16 budgets, budget funds. Now there's, obviously the commissioners have 4 of those, the sheriff has 3, but there were 16 budget funds that were sent in. The proposals of cuts. Now, there were some that were sent in that said, I can't cut anything.
Well, how many got total?
Total budgets?
Yes.
It's 22 that are in general. This doesn't include highway, it doesn't include health, it doesn't include park.
And 16 out of 22 had.
Well, I take that back. There were a couple that sent in proposals. There was probably, there was 21 of the 22, I'm sorry. There was 21 of the 22 that sent in proposals. 16 of those had cuts. The other 6 said, I can't cut anything. There was one, I'll take it back, there were 2 that didn't send any proposal at all. That was requested from this council.
Right.
And Steve sent out an email from us requesting proposal. There were 2 county agencies that didn't think that it was their prerogative to answer to this council.
Who were they?
Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess. They're
The
not.
circuit court and the probation department.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor and seconded. Is there any more discussion?
I'm just gonna make, on my personal, I just find this kind of weird how you tell us to make decisions. I don't meet outside of this building, and yet when we come in, everything's done hashed out. I don't have nothing to look at. I got a problem with that.
Go back to work.
As you can see, this is version 27 of this. Darryl and I have been working on these proposals since we started with this budget thing, that we realized that there was a problem. We've been working on these. We email these back and forth to each other, these proposals. And then, yes, the last 2 days, he and I have been together finalizing this whole package that you're getting tonight. But does anybody else at this council have a package put together?
Well, that's why we're supposed to have been here to be discussing that.
Do you want to go line by line and try
Should have done
to
it.
figure it out?
Budget time. Budget time would be different.
I think there's a motion in a second.
Okay. So all in favor, let me restate the motion. The motion is to move from general to Cadget, for out of the jail and the sheriff for a total of $532,998.95 as a reduction from general. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
Hang on, Darryl. You got $360,000.
Where are we at? What did I miss?
The moves
Oh.
signed by the auditor.
Okay, I guess we need a motion for that. We're gonna need to have the auditor decide $360,728 worth of moves, of expenses to be taken out of general and moved over to Cadget, another accounting move. And this is gonna bring down our Cadget fund to very close to what we have in there to spend. And in that vein, I move that we have the auditor assemble and for our next meeting, $360,727 worth of moves. We'll need to do reductions and additionals. Reductions from general and additionals into CAGIT.
Hang on. That number's not right. The number's not right, because I had the edit funds figured into that. So actually, I'm sorry, the number is not 360, it's 308,670. I didn't see it here. Sorry about that.
Okay.
308,677.97. Or it'll be 970. 308,678. Sorry about that. Sorry, everybody. Made a mistake.
So that's your personal.
Sorry, one more line.
Sorry, I don't have that one written down, Jeff.
Well, so you,
It should be just. a very
yeah, I've
similar-
got the number written down, but what is your motion again in a
The
nutshell?
third motion on your list there, it'll be very similar to that.
Okay,
I move that we have the president of council sign reduction cuts from general fund and additionals to CAGIT in the amount of $308,670. That the auditor decide which ones of these to do, present them to us at the April 1st meeting, and advertise such for action.
okay, Daryl's made a motion to advertise, to move $308,677.97 from the general fund to additionals to CAGIT, and the auditor is to advertise this for the April 1st meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
What's the purpose of this? If you're moving money, it's not reducing, is it?
You have to zero out the line in general.
You got two different funds.
And you gotta move
You got the general. You need to reduce the expenditures out of general. That's a reduction. Then you have to increase the expenditures by the same amount out of CAGIT. That's an additional. It balances out, it's the same amount of money, but it'll be, instead of being paid out of general, off the property taxes, it'll be paid out of CAGIT, the income tax.
Yeah, but won't this affect our balance at the target operating cash in June?
I don't understand that question at all. Our operating cash, we are gonna have cash flow problem. And that's why we need $750,000 in the rainy day fund. We are gonna have a cash flow problem because we collect property taxes in May or June, and again in November, December. In that amount of time between now and then, we've already given a loan to general. We'll have to give another loan to general again before the end of the year. I'm certain of that. But that's why we have to have money in reserve for cash flow purposes.
We're gonna cash that CD, aren't we, the $750,000 that's probably due?
I believe we're gonna have to cash
The
our
treasurer was prudent, she would probably hold off on reinvesting in CD, yes. But I can't tell the treasurer what to do.
Is there any other discussion on this motion that has been seconded?
I second it.
Aaron is second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
The second page of our three-page program. What you see up on the screen and what you guys have in front of you there are the cuts that the department heads forwarded to us. well, let me start up at the top there. At the top there, we started out with the first 1.3 million that we had to cut out of general. And we did moves and reductions, and are we down to 124? Or is that 124 is after this page, right?
It's actually, this note, that page is not correct. It's actually 176 because that, let me see, hold on.
So, I'm sorry, just a question, Daryl. These are the cuts that the office holder, I didn't see the paper either, that the office holders came up with? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
These,
We're at 176 without the money from it.
yeah. The exception to that, Holly, is the very first line employee
The
raises.
employers. Okay, I was getting ready to ask that.
Okay. But some of the office holders put in for reductions out of the pay raises, so we deducted those out of these reduction amounts when we put these in here. I'll read down through these. Area plan, no reduction. Assessor, $7,050. Auditor, let's see here. Auditor, 12,000. Clerk, 0. Commissioners, 13,485. Courthouse government buildings, 33,935. Small animal control, $2,016. Coroner, $937. EMA, 0. 911 communications, $1,125. Extension, $7,000. Circuit court, 0. Probation, 0. Prosecutor, 0. Prosecutor 4D, 0. Recorder, $1,010. Sheriff, $7,250. Jail, $43,900. Surveyor, $850. Transfer station, $28,360. Treasurer, $14,117. Veterans officer, $15,469. For a total of $302,504. If we make these reductions on April 1st, we'll be down to 176,000. Is that what you got there? 176,000, not counting 52,000.
Can I ask why you didn't cut just right across the board? And to
This is,
me-
we didn't do this.
These are the
The
ones-
office holders sent this.
I know, but you know darn well, you could have cut some out of circuit court, probation, and probably prosecutor. I mean, I just think everybody else was being nice and cut their budgets, but I think there should have been a cut.
You still do it.
Okay. Sure can. This is just the stuff that all the office holders and elected officials sent in and said, I'm okay with you cutting this.
And I commend them for doing that.
We shouldn't,
Me too.
yeah, I know, you're not okay with it, Chuck. You're not okay with it.
No,
Is that what you said?
I'm fine with it. When Debbie and I talked about it, I was off for surgery, having surgery, so I wasn't able to get anything turned in. My question is, who turned in 15,000 something miles? I mean, I'm okay with it. It's happening for this, how did you guys get it?
Commissioners, yeah.
Apparently the commissioners, I guess.
Did we turn, Debbie, did we turn that in after you and I talked right here?
No, I didn't turn
Okay. I just want to work.
He wanted to know where
That's
all of these were supposed to be from office holders, what they wanted. Who turned in the 15,000 for the Veterans Service Office?
I didn't turn in nothing, I was going to, but I couldn't meet the speed because I was off for surgery.
I don't have all the paperwork that was turned in, I just have the tally sheet
Okay. I mean,
in front of me. I don't, it's at home.
As far as I'm concerned, at this point in the game, after 4 years, I'm good with it.
That basically is taking it back to 20 hours a week like it was last year.
Right. I'll be with it.
Is there something you want to add to it?
Yeah. I think you can cut some out of the circuit court. I know you don't like it, but he's got under,
I don't want to muddy the water. I think I would like to do these cuts, and then if we're going to add additionals, let's add them. We can tally them as we're going.
then you can cut them out of the other ones, because everybody else was up front and honest, and I'd like to see it go right across the board instead of.
What about the contingency?
Yeah, Tom.
Got one problem. When we submitted our reductions for the courthouse, I think we got greedy on our utilities. I don't know how precise you want to get tonight. You want to take our reduction we got turned in?
That's the number we used, and we saw that utility. We're like,
Yeah.
okay, that's what you guys submitted. So we put it in there.
The only saving grace I've got is, I got in the transfer station, I think one of our employees is gonna retire or sign up for disability, and I'm gonna end that position. So I will have money there, maybe move to the, for that later, you know, I don't
Like,
want
what are you
that.
talking, 20,000 or?
Yeah. I mean, in this big picture of things, but I'm just telling you, I think we got greedy there.
I think, in my opinion, we get to the end of the year and you don't have enough money in your utility budget, you've got to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to come back with additional if you can't move money.
We don't have money then.
We're cutting, there's a lot of things in here we're cutting, like in the very first page, you know, the medical expenses, the meals, the detained juveniles, those are guesses.
Yeah.
We have no idea to know whether we're gonna have to detain a juvenile somewhere else, because we don't house them over here. And if we have to send a juvenile to Muncie or Lawrenceburg, they're gonna send us a bill for housing those juveniles. And we're gonna, if we spend that amount of money, we gotta pay the bill.
Yeah.
We're just cutting it down, hoping that we don't have to spend it.
All right.
Well, how much is your extra revenue gonna be, Tom? Do you
Do
know?
what?
Your extra revenue, do you know yet, from the transfer station?
I'm gonna say 25,000, would be my guess. But, you know, there again, I'm guessing.
Is that,
And we noticed you cut some of your solid waste disposal there
Yeah.
and transfer station too. Was that because of your increased revenue projection?
We've done some changes in our compaction up there at the transfer station. We're actually saving some money there. So that's a pretty good guess, I believe. Yeah.
So he's already accounted for that, and he cut that, so.
what we can do, if you want to propose some more, we can make another page, put those proposals on a page if you want, and work them in there.
That would be cuts by us.
I'll tell you what, we can do that probably in June once the figures start panning out more.
I mean, I don't want to cut you out from making cuts, because I'm here to make cuts.
Well, it's gonna cut us out anyway.
We need a,
We should probably go ahead and look at that tonight, Becky.
Hmm?
We should probably go ahead and look at that tonight. That'll be okay.
What about the salary adjustments and the contingency for general counsel? Especially the salary adjustments. There's 30,000 in there. Did you already put in the whole?
No, it wasn't.
We haven't touched it.
The general.
We haven't touched it.
I mean, I personally think the salary adjustments is a little high, if you ask me.
At least cut in half.
I mean, because it's past the first year, usually they catch it in there for the first year in case there was problems, and I mean, I know that there can always be something that arises, but, yeah.
We've still got $176,000 to cut.
I think that we could personally cut at least 15, at least 15.
well,
I mean, and I'm not gonna touch the contingency right now, I mean, I don't think, I mean, you know, you're gonna offset that with some additionals possibly, so, I just think the salary adjustment is something that, I mean, look, if you look over the last 3 years, it's never been over 15. So, and before that, I don't remember us hardly ever using it from 10, 8, 9, 10. I mean, sometimes when you do these cuts, you just gotta live with it. I mean, you find the best solution. I mean, the salary adjustment thing could be too. If someone quits and they're gonna pay out, you know, vacation or something, let's just say, well, it might just have to go back to that office instead of paying it out there.
So the real question is, do we want to set it up so we can vote on these at the April 1st meeting? In that endeavor, are you ready again, Steve? I move that the president of council sign reductions and the auditor advertise for the April 1 meeting, office holder department head reduction cuts totaling $302,504. Reference 2014 budget cuts, version 27, elected officials and department head proposed reductions, as presented by Aaron Leffingwell and Darrell Turner.
Darrell has made a motion to have the reductions in totaling $302,504 from the office holders proposal. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Aaron seconds. All in favor, raise your right hand.
I am abstaining just because I don't
All-
think that raise includes my rate, or you know what I'm saying? I think,
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
All opposed? Yes. And Holly abstains.
I'm
Motion-
abstaining because of the raise.
Motion carries.
Guys, that was the easy part. Now we come to the tough decisions.
You would have done this tomorrow. You would-
Yeah, Mel?
I won't be very long.
Because I abstain because I don't
Think
know.
I now
if
understand
they
how to
raise-
stand my
the
office.
raise on the-
Okay. Oh, hang on, Mel's got the
I think I know how to stand up and defend my office, because I did submit back to Steve that I checked my budgets and I couldn't afford any cuts. And then Becky stated that we ought to cut across the board, everybody's budget. She pointed out the prosecutors. I have two budgets. I have the 4D. For those of you who don't know, my 4D budget has not changed in the last 4 years. It's around 78, 79,000. Out of that, 17,000 is 100% reimbursed by the state and federal government. That balance that's remaining, 66 2/3, is reimbursed. So that takes us down to very little it costs the county to run the 4D office. Now, the prosecutor's office, my budget in 2012 was $95,000 to run that office. 2013, it was cut to 84. This year it's 86. I've already been cut. And where am I supposed to cut after that? And then, this is not tax dollars, they're user fees that I have paid to run my office to supplement, because the county has been broke. I don't have any problem with that. Years ago, I gave up an investigator. You go throughout the state of Indiana, most prosecutors have an investigator. I gave mine up. That would probably be $30,000 to $40,000 a year for years. I've given it up. Never asked for anything in return. User fees, last year, no tax dollars, $87,386 was paid out of my office to help fund the office. 2011, almost $50,000. 2012, $57,000. So to ask to cut across the board, I think you need to look at the budgets and understand them before you start doing those things. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Right. Yep.
I believe that this will be the most controversial and tough decision for council members to make. The third and last page of our proposal. We have here a list of offices. What would happen if we eliminated one person from each office? What the total amount is at that? The first thing I think I'd like to bring up is that if we did all of these reductions that are listed on this page here, we would get our balance to a positive $35,917.
All I'm doing is adding back any edit funds. They're gonna get redirected. That's all it is. Makes that a positive number. Without those edit funds, that number, if you saw it before, was $16,000 still in the red.
Can you make that number white up there, Aaron, so that they can see that? I don't think a lot of them can see that red number.
You guys see that one?
The other side there is the original $1.32 million that we had to cut on the left there.
Easier?
Yeah. There. On this list, there are, I believe, 11 full-time jobs. Council needs to decide how many and which ones. A way to be fair.
3 part-time jobs there too.
Say what?
There's 4 part-time jobs.
4 part-time jobs there. Some of them part-time jobs may not be fully eliminated. They might be reduced. I can't remember.
Let me ask you a quick question. Before we moved to the employee sheet, the last paper you said there was $176,000 left to cut, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that's not counting the $200,000 to $225,000 that the commissioners had said that we could possibly use from the health insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
So if that was true, then that would take care of the rest of the 176 that you're proposing that we have to cut.
In those categories,
Yeah.
it would.
Okay.
So,
But it don't take care of your whole budget. Am I right?
Is that?
$176,000.
There's $176,000 left. The general is over budget.
Okay. So if the commissioners reduce 200,000, you got it covered. Am I right? But you still have other areas you've got to cut in yet.
This is the last page.
this is
Yeah.
this is the last page of our
Right.
proposal.
You've got it broken down in 3 different categories, in a
Yeah.
sense.
The
We
first
got 3 steps is what we got.
3
Yeah.
steps.
Okay,
We tried to make the easy cuts first.
yeah,
These are obviously the most difficult.
right.
We need to get information on the health insurance before April 1st. We need positive proof that we can cut that 200,000. If we can cut that 200,000 or 176,000 of that, we don't have to do this.
This page goes away.
This page would go away.
For the last 3 budgets, commissioners have always told us that they needed at least $1 million to $1.1 million in reserve. That's what the insurance companies have told you, and they were also angry, well, not angry, I'm sorry, concerned that we had
Too much.
that too much in that line, correct?
Correct.
So we've had this discussion that it should be around the $1.1 million. That's fine to,
Wilson just said
this-
200,000 also.
so if that, but I mean,
This issue of the healthcare fund is so important that I want to have proof of how much we need to have in there.
Okay.
Underfunding the healthcare thing that could be devastating later on. And we've got until April 1st before we could advertise this, but we would not act on it until April 1st, if we acted on it.
My only concern about this is that some of these cuts involve offices that had openings years ago that we maybe could have done at that time.
I want to make a motion that we put this aside. Nothing's going to get done. You're going to collapse this county. This is ridiculous. Apparently, you don't know what it takes in the treasurer's office to handle $10 million. Absolutely no idea how hard that is. Apparently, you have no idea in the auditor's office what it takes to prepare all this budgetary and settlements and everything. Yeah. I'm sorry, but even the clerk, it's election time. Those women work their rear ends off for the court and the election and everything else. I'm opposed to this. I think it should be set aside and done at a later date if we would need it. So I got a motion that we delay this, and I don't care about the other ones that can go, but you are cutting the throat of this county right now.
I'd like to
Is
say.
there any way to copy on these, because we can't read that? Can you read it? Can you give us copies tomorrow or something? We can't see it from here.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to delay this. It's been seconded. Would you go, Holly did. Can someone go through and read what the proposal is?
Well, I was hoping we could work on this proposal a little bit.
What are we delaying? We're delaying cutting another $176,000 that we're gonna sit here tonight and say, that we're okay to still be in the red, $176,000 tonight.
You know what? That's $176,000. I think as time goes on, we could probably pick that up somewhere. Like I said, we can cut it someplace else, but I am totally against cutting anybody part-time or full-time from the county employees. This is ridiculous. The transfer station, I'm appalled, because you go down there when it's 100 degrees and them guys are sweating their rear ends off.
The transfer station, you just said, as soon as he retires, he's not gonna fill it.
So I mean, but that's something he's
That's the other
doing.
person.
You know, if he wants to cripple the transfer station, that so be it.
But
Okay.
you don't wanna do it.
No, I don't. I mean, that is his call. But
If the
I do
health-
not want to cut
If the health
anybody
insurance
else.
is good, then we don't need this right now.
Well, that's what I would like to have cleared up.
Yeah, I mean,
$176,000, Daryl's talking about. If you gain a reduction through the commissioners on insurance of $200,000, and you're safe on your insurance policy, I mean, what they say you have to have, do you still need this?
No.
Okay, that's what I want to make clear.
What I need to do is, number one, I need to put pressure on the commissioners to get me the information, because we've asked for this information.
You can get it.
the
Number
pressure's
two,
on.
we want to,
Tom's just like, who am I? Chop liver?
You can get it, Daryl, hell, it's simple.
Hold on, before Daryl's, I got something to add to Daryl's.
we also, these things can't be done in overnight things. It takes advertising and all that. Just the fact that we advertise them for the next meeting doesn't mean they have to be done.
Right.
But we can't do them if we don't
You
advertise.
got to advertise.
So,
This is just a backup in case the insurance reduction don't come through.
That's what I want to make clear. If you,
I don't think there's anybody up here, if we can safely cut 176,000.
right,
More.
Out of there.
36, right, tonight?
Yeah, we took 36 tonight, it'd be 176 more than that 36.
That's right. And we're good with that.
If we can do that, I don't think there's anybody up here that's gonna vote for us.
you won't need
Any of
this
it.
third sheet there, right?
Correct.
Now, hold on.
But in case we had to do it, we have to advertise it. Just
Like
'cause
I
we
say, we can
advertise
figure it out. We got a
doesn't mean
motion on the floor.
You wouldn't advertise.
All right.
I got another point.
They got me a second.
The thing that we have to remember though, even if we use the $200,000 this year to bail out this, so we don't have to make these job cuts. The number right back here, okay? In CAGIT, where we had unspent CAGIT funds from 2013. We make that 0, because next year, we're not gonna have that. We're at $342,000 in the hole.
Then we can cut
Can we
council.
bail out another $300,000 from the health fund again next year?
No.
No. But then we got, if we do this appeal thing and get our rate up, it may mend.
What you can do is you can wait until your first disbursement of the taxes come in this year and see where your finances are.
No, we need to do it ASAP on this appeal thing.
Well,
It's gonna take some work to put it together and get it to the DLGF.
Hold on.
But I'm told.
That 342 is not right, because if we take these cuts right here out of this equation, if I take these out, take that out, $502,000 in the hole. Again, what is your appeal gonna raise? $480,000.
You know what, you guys have
Or
done your job.
$20,000
In
still
August.
in the red.
All right, there's a motion on the floor.
Carl wants to say something.
I'm sorry, Carla.
I can't see these figures.
Yeah,
It
I
looks
I
like-
guess I'll go ahead and read. This is what the proposal is read. Daryl, or do you want to?
I should do it, you shouldn't have to.
Okay.
Office holder, department head, reduction cuts. Area plan, part-time help, $600. Secretary, $25,435. Assessor's office, $25,181. Auditor, deputy, $24,708. Clerk, deputy, $23,508. Commissioners, full-time employee, $25,000. Part-time employee, $7,100. Part-time maintenance, $5,500. Courthouse government buildings, total, $25,000. Full-time employee. Small animal control, part-time help, $2,000. Coroner, 0. EMA, 0. 911 communications, 0. Extension, 14,000. Second clerical, of that 14,000, second clerical was 10,000, program assistant was 4,000. Circuit court, 0. Probation, $4,161. Prosecutor, 0. Prosecutor IVD, 0. Recorder, $25,181. Deputies. Sheriff, 0. Jail, $25,000. Employee. Surveyor, 0. Transfer station, $24,877. Treasurer, $25,435. These add up to $282,606 and put us $35,000 over, meaning we wouldn't have to cut all of these positions, but they are listed because council needs to consider it.
Becky, restate your motion.
My motion was to set this aside. I think it's a drastic cut. We don't need to do it right now.
Okay, Becky's made a motion to set this list of employee job reductions.
You mean the whole, page 3?
Whole page.
Yeah, the other two they voted on.
Holly seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, raise your right hand.
You voters, take note of this.
Well, I'm just saying, we're gonna look at it.
Motion denied.
And in defense of Daryl,
Please.
What was the vote again?
4-3.
4-3.
I'm gonna say one thing, since the assessor is not here, we have 4 employees in our office, and 2 are already paid out of the assessment, so you only have 2 paid out of county general.
We know that.
We know that.
Well, thank you.
Charges off the tax down for deputy.
I know. Stupid.
What did, I didn't,
Absolutely stupid.
how much
I
did you,
have an employee, I don't have anyone, just me.
did you cut all your part-time, Veronica?
I'm,
How much did you cut out your part-time?
how much I cut it all the way down to, I only have like 10,000, or I don't remember. I didn't really.
You guys are stupid.
I don't have to fix that.
I could be a little more stern.
Personal attacks are not
Yeah, I was
appreciated.
Oh,
gonna say.
Mr. Darrell Kramer, why don't you then, you're gonna go and work in the treasurer's office.
All right, all right, let's just.
This is at least gonna be, take
Everybody's
effect
in there.
if they have the 200,000 that cuts in the insurance. This won't even apply, and there's no need to really argue about it.
Get a grip, Dean.
Okay, then what's the next step?
I move that the president and council sign reductions and that the auditor advertise for the April 1 meeting, reductions to the county council general fund of $282,686.
That'll win you.
Reference 2014 budget cuts, version 27, employee reductions, as presented by Aaron Leffingwell and Darrell Kramer.
I'll
Derek
second.
has made the motion to advertise these employee job reductions in the amount of $282,686. Aaron Leffingwell has seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion denied.
Now let's look at it. For one thing, the commissioners
I'm
can't
sorry, go
lose.
ahead. What?
Well, first you voted for it, and now you're voting against it?
No,
No,
they voted against me to table this, to put this aside, so I lost on that.
But now we voted.
But now they voted not to accept it.
Not to advertise.
yeah, now we're gonna look at it.
Only to advertise.
That's the day.
Well, for one, the commissioners can't do without Carol, but what these guys did, they put everything on the board.
Let's say the commissioners can't do without a secretary.
Oh, well, okay, yeah. you're
Well,
right.
that was
We
my,
start putting names in there that
That's
is
right.
personal. And we can't sit up here and make this personal.
Yeah.
I did, that was my next question though, like, these amounts, like, obviously are off the salary ordinance, so I'm guessing that like the assessor and the deputy is, I don't know which deputy's in which category or which fund. So, I mean, these are referring to the salary ordinance, salaries, correct?
The other thing that we gotta remember here is the numbers up here,
I didn't.
let me go back. Let me bring it back in.
I didn't get an answer. I don't know.
You wanna know who get paid out of assessor's office? First deputy and second deputy, out of county general. And
So
then-
I'm assuming a 25181, Marlene would be the second deputy or the first deputy? I don't, I mean either.
Give me just a second.
They should all be. They're all the same. That's why I don't understand all these numbers are so different.
Hey Veronica, none of these cuts will take effect if they can find $200,000 savings in the insurance on
All right.
the commissioner's office.
Here's the point that needs to be made before we continue to push this other stuff down the road. Is these numbers that we use for the reduction amount here, the total $282,000, that's that total salary line. Obviously, those employees have been working now for 14 weeks. Or will be working for 14 weeks by the time we have our meeting. So the longer we prolong it, the less amount of money that you're gonna be able to cut here.
Plus their salary or their sick days accumulated.
And there's gonna be yes, exactly. We're $35,000 to the good here, but there's obviously gonna be payouts, unemployment expenses. all of that, their severance packages have to be paid to those employees if they get laid off. So just because we're $35,000 to the good, you add another job in, you still have 10 jobs that are gonna be cut, or could be cut, that you're gonna have to pay out a severance package with. Where are you gonna get that money?
You're not,
Yeah,
these
now you're adding
these are
more
not considered
expense.
layoffs, these are considered eliminations, right? I mean, that's, I know, no, I'm just
For 20,
clarifying
for now,
because,
yeah. No, I would say layoffs.
because we've never done
Do
layoffs.
we know that we're gonna be able to call them back? No. If Becky gets her appeal and we get another 5%, if, if we magically find
But I'm
a
just saying
pot of
that
money, yeah.
if you're just laying someone off and you don't know if they're coming back to work, then do you pay them out their time? I mean, I don't know this because we've never done this, so I don't know. Tom?
One thing I'd like for you guys to take a look at, the commissioners feel if you have to make a cut longevity. That's a pretty good little chunk of change. Might change your mind a little, I don't know.
That would be more acceptable than laying off employees, yes.
I'm gonna say Tom and I haven't talked to Scott, but I'm telling you, we are in favor of keeping the employees, cutting by attrition. I know we always talk about that, it never happens, but we've got to make it happen. That's our opinion.
How much is in that?
Do what?
How much is in that line?
Hold on just a second, I got your spreadsheet.
Oh, you got?
Let me just make sure my numbers are right.
It's the 55,600.
Longevity, $55,000. Put that in there, because that's the longevity that's in general. You cut that for every county employee, it's $78,000 for the entire county, all funds. But the only money that's affecting this is what we're doing now. You cut that out, it puts us at $91,000 there. I know you guys can't see it, but it's right, 91,517,835.
Sorry.
I'm just gonna say that this whole conversation is sort of irrelevant in the effect that these guys can pull this trip off with the insurance.
You're right. If it,
Everybody get all wound up,
Right.
it's completely off base in provided they can come up with this insurance cost.
You're right, Bill. It is, but if we don't advertise it, if we say we advertise it, we advertise it, comes April 1st, they come in, the guy comes in and says, yeah, you only need $1 million. Put that money over to general, all's well and good for this year.
That's good.
You deny, we canceled the reductions, but if we don't advertise for the reductions, the guy comes in and says, we can't move that money over. We now are entire 1 month behind, and we've just lost the whole entire month of payroll off of this number. I can prorate that right here real quick, if you want to see that number.
I can't imagine the next 2 weeks' time. Just thinking more about
It would be 2 more weeks of payroll, 4 more weeks of payroll. So we're gonna go from 38 to 34 weeks. We just went from 35,000 to 21,000. It costs us another $14,000. We push it back another month, another $14,000. Another month, another $14,000. Before long, we're back in the red again, even if we cut jobs. This is nothing that Daryl or I want to do. We don't want to see anybody lose their job in this county. These are hard decisions that have to be made. But somebody had to propose it so we can get the ball rolling in case it really does have to happen. Sitting up here and just pushing it back and pushing it back is completely and totally irresponsible.
Yeah, but last year you guys were talking.
I'm sorry, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I have a comment. Daryl,
Can you come up here and?
I can come up here, but I'll.
Thank you.
Daryl and Aaron did a tremendous amount of time doing this proposal. I wonder what would have happened if they would have took a little bit of that time to find more money coming into the county like Becky did.
We did.
And what did you come up with?
We reworked.
All we seen was cuts.
No, we reworked the 1782 and we found another
But you still want to take
$225,000.
how much money away from everybody?
What's
How many
that?
employees do you want to get rid of with your proposal?
There's 11 in it.
Exactly. Let's spend some of that time and effort to find ways to bring money in. Becky tried. Let's find some more ways. There's plenty of ways.
We have looked into it.
You haven't proposed it though.
We've asked about a local option income tax. The DLGF has said that is not a good option. That's nothing that's gonna fix this year. That's
No, it's
only
not
gonna fix
this
next year.
but it might help
That's only
out
gonna fix
next
next year.
You know, but you gotta get that ball running too, like Becky wants to do, but.
I'm
nobody-
wholeheartedly behind and in favor of trying to figure out whether we can do a local option income tax for public safety to get the sheriff's department, the 911 budget, and the jail, and the EMS out of the general fund. I'm totally in favor of that.
Have you really said that until I brought up my issue?
Yes, I have. I've said it multiple times at this
Is
meeting.
anybody here tonight? No.
Oh, yes, I have, multiple times at this meeting. I brought it up about a public safety income tax. Have I not, John?
I can verify that Aaron has talked to me about that.
But I think they need to be working more on that than cuts. You know, talk is easy. What they have done is not easy by any way. In no way does anybody want to see jobs be cut. All I'm saying is I think they need to work a little bit harder on finding ways to generate money coming in. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. I ain't lost my thought. Can you work out a combination, partly of what Becky's saying? Granted, none of us want to see anybody get laid off, but if it has to happen, it happens. It's happened to me before. But can you work out a combination where you can try, or you're gonna have to advertise what you've already agreed to do? You know, I understand that, being involved with politics, I understand you gotta advertise. But can you together work out a system that you can work them both together and see if you can maybe get what Becky's talking about to keep from doing this third one?
That's why I wanted it to be delayed.
Yeah,
But
now what she's saying does make sense, and it's not costing you that much if you can gain, what, 400 and some thousand, $500,000, that's a plus.
But I just showed you, Roy,
I know.
that if you take out the Cadget money that we're rolling over from last year to this year, which is 378, that's almost eating up the entire appeal that we're gonna get, the 5% increase. It's $480,000.
Right, and what you're saying will help you for present time, for this year.
And if you take out the job cuts, and because if we don't lay anybody off, you're gonna have to pay those salaries next year.
Yeah.
That number is not $480,000. It's more than $480,000.
It's more.
It's more than what
You
any increase that we're gonna get next year is gonna be.
You've got several faults here. Nobody has a personality, but you've got to keep your employees. You can't afford to lose them. You've got to work out a system where you can hang on to those employees. Now, maybe some of you part-time, I'm not gonna point fingers. You might be able to get done with less. I ain't sure on none of that. But you need to come up with a system that's gonna take you at least another year down the road, so you don't have to go through this again next year. No, you can't go through this again next year.
Putting the money in from the insurance fund this year is only gonna fix this year.
Right.
Without an increase in revenue, we're gonna be at the same position
Same place.
in September at budget hearings.
It's a mathematical certainty.
It
It's
is.
not,
Yeah, but why are we talking about it now? Last year at budget time, you guys were whining and complaining, we don't want to have to lay anybody up. You saw it coming. Why in the name of God didn't you do something about it then?
Well, what should
You
be
guys
done?
are the ones in the position to do that. You should have raised the tax.
That's why we're trying to do it now.
6 years ago.
So we don't have to do it next year, or the year after that.
I mean, this has been going on since.
We've got to hit it off the fast.
It's been going on a long time. Yes. And it's
Decade.
sickening. And it's not even affecting me, but it is. It is affecting me, but it's bad. I feel bad for people, you know?
It's not that we don't feel bad.
I know.
Trust me.
I understand.
This does not come easy.
But
This
it
has been
doesn't
3
help.
months of agony.
But it still doesn't help.
You know how much sleep I got last night, knowing that this proposal was together?
You get any?
Very little.
What I'm saying is, can you work together on trying to get part of what Becky's wanting to do? And then see after, if she gets approved for that, see if you really have to go this route.
I'm all in favor, if we can move that, I'm completely in favor, if we can move that money from insurance this year to not cut any
No,
jobs
but
this
you're
year.
not, you're not.
One caveat on
protecting
that.
yourself for next year.
If we get the insurance
I
money.
know.
If we get the insurance money, we need to do a hiring freeze.
You what?
We need to do a hiring freeze because we need to eliminate positions for future purposes.
What's that?
Because we will be faced with this same problem next year
Yeah,
if all we do is get the 200,000 and we don't do anything else.
right.
Hiring freeze for approval.
Hiring freezes are difficult to manage. Very difficult to manage. Usually the person that leaves is not the first position that you want to cut. But we have got to do something for the long-term solution too. The long-term solution is either somebody has to come up with more information on how to get a tax that I do not have, or we got to make cuts in labor.
Okay. If the cuts are made, is the work gonna get done?
Nobody knows.
No, I can vouch for that in the treasurer's
And
office.
then you're not gonna have things happening. You're not gonna get the tax things out. You're not gonna get the tax payments in.
You're between the rock and a hard spot, so.
Right?
It's a
Now,
big,
I don't blame none of you separate. Things that, this should have never had to came up if the council in place 6, 7 years ago would have done the right thing at that time. They didn't do it.
How many of us on council up here that were placed 6, 7 years ago?
You already know who's on council, Aaron.
Hmm?
You already know who's on council. And it's not our fault. I don't believe it's our fault, right?
Do what?
I really
None of
don't
us-
believe it's our fault.
Well, it's
A lot of us over here.
of all of them was in county council. I used to go to some of the council members privately and talk to them. I'm talking 10 years ago. To get educated. I would leave them dumber than I walked in. And I said, Dan, you've got a serious problem in this county. These people do not know how to look down the road 5 years. Now, it used to be you had to look down the road 10 years, 20 years. You can't do that no more. If you can look 5, you're lucky. You're in a hard rock right now. What do we do?
Truly, the problem was we were relying on the $375,000 that we got from Marshburg every year.
Right.
And when that went away, that's why we're in the problem we're in right now.
well, that's just spit in the bucket.
Part of it.
Yeah, talk.
Further than that.
So I want to kind of review what all's happened with your submittal of what I call in page 1, page 2. You have not touched the rainy day fund yet, is that correct?
That's because that's kind of figured in with the expenses.
Except that we have touched some of the rainy day for a loan. We expect to have to do another loan out of rainy day cashed in a CD. It is imprudent to run the rainy day down to 0. You will not cash flow.
You have to.
You will be sent into receivership. If we do not balance the budget in the future, we will be sent into receivership.
Just want to clarify, are you tapping into the savings account at this point with this project in place? Or
That savings account is not there.
It's
That's
not
why
existent.
we're doing what we have to do.
It's all part of the operational money.
Okay.
There's no
I know you
savings.
talked about the CD situation, I'm assuming that's something that's been saved.
Well, that's a rainy day.
Rainy Day
fund.
has CDs that weren't part of that savings, that we can access, that we have a certain amount of money in rainy day that we regularly loan out for money to the other funds. I expect that condition to get worse.
My question is right back to what I said 10 minutes ago. Can you work both sides together, give Becky the chance to see if she can gain anything out of this?
Sure, but we're not gonna know until next year whether she wins or not.
How long will it
Or
take?
August until budget time.
Damn, you can't wait that long.
I feel like we can toy around with the 300,000. If we can cut over $1 million, 300,000, to me, you actually don't know for sure what all money's coming in and what isn't.
Right, right.
Honestly, really.
We know exactly how much money we will get, yes, based on the property valuation and the tax rate. As long as every person pays their tax bill, yes, we know exactly how much
So
we're
not
gonna get.
everybody pays
When we
their
tax- Yeah, that's not-
refigured, when we refigured in 1782 this afternoon, we used exact figures. That's how we got to 1.3 instead of 1.5. Had we not done that, we'd be sitting here cutting $1.5 million.
Well, you're gonna be close to what's been approved by the state. You're gonna be close. They missed mine a little bit, but it's close. You can't argue over what they do for you. I see you can't afford to wait, but at the same time, I'm telling myself, you have to wait.
What are the consequences if we wait?
I know. The consequences could be, if you wait and you don't gain much out of it, your doors are gonna shut. You're gonna be bankrupt. It might be another year or 2 years, you're gonna be bankrupt.
What is my job up here?
Yeah. If you do what you've projected here, you can possibly keep from being bankrupt, but at the same time, you got nobody doing your work. The rock is getting hard. Make a decision, good luck.
Thank you, Roy.
Well, we proposed the cuts to advertise. All we asked for was the advertisement. You guys voted it down. You guys want to look at this and go line by line and say yay, nay? Is that what's going to take you guys to get it advertised?
Well, me too, I'll start, because I don't want the treasurer to be cut at all. And you're handling $10 million and trying to balance the books, and I'm not kidding you, you're nuts if you cut anybody out of that office. This will shut the county down. If she cannot balance and get the money done, the auditor can't do settlement, things will come to a halt.
Okay, it's out. Next. We're $8,000 is good.
I like to hear the commissioners speak about their own employees. Can you do without?
You said the treasurer is out.
Yeah, the treasurer's is out. She has to have her deputy, and
And I have to have her deputy.
you have to.
I can't close the
If she
bank.
gets hit by a car and doesn't have a first deputy, who's gonna run the office?
It's a state code, you have to have a first deputy.
Right. So
The commissioner's full-time
treasurer
employee.
is,
Can you hold on a second?
So if that's the case, then assessor, then the assessor's position has to be put back in too, correct? That's the second deputy, or that's the first deputy. Is Sharon here? Or who's speaking for Sharon?
Marlene was the first deputy.
Where's she at?
I don't know.
first deputy
She
and
gone?
second
She
deputy.
gone.
Tell you what, let's take a 5-minute break, because they're making copies, and just a few people need restroom breaks.
I mean, that's just an added expense.
We need to look into figure
Might
out
as well-
what
might as well just do the longevity, right? 78.
Yeah. What's our target, Aaron? Where we at?
We're $8,000 to the good right now.
To the good.
Okay, I got another proposal. How about, and I told Tom Winkle this, to do away with some holidays. If you do away with some holidays, you save on holiday pay. Am I right?
You would, yes, for the public safety employees, yeah.
Right. So I'd say if the commissioners would axe out at least 2, because I have to admit, government employees know we're off on every holiday, and when I worked in the private sector, I only had 6 days off. And that's about the norm. So that would save some money if we eliminated some holidays and make it so it wouldn't cost anymore because employees are already getting paid for holidays, but it would save on your overtime and holiday pay on the other sectors, which is the sheriff, highway.
Wouldn't save on overtime because they don't get paid overtime to work a holiday because they get a holiday check.
How many
You're only gonna save what those 2 holidays times, however many employees, how many deputies you have, Sheriff?
10,
How many jailers?
10.
And
Back
dispatchers?
to 11 deputies on the full staff.
You have 11 deputies, 10 jailers, dispatchers,
10.
so that's 11, 21, 31, times 2 days, times an average wage, what,
14, 13.
$15 an hour?
Yeah, that's a little high.
13 probably.
31 employees times
13, I'm just 13.
2 days.
I got in late on this discussion. What's your proposal there?
That the commissioners, to help save money, is to knock off some holidays for the county employees. Probably wouldn't affect your office. What it would do is they wouldn't have holiday pay. It wouldn't cost us anymore because employees in the government center already have paid holidays. So they can knock off 2, 3, or 4 for all I care.
So basically, you're asking your jailers, 911 dispatchers, and your sheriff's deputies to take a pay decrease while everybody else just has to work another day.
It's
and
just
continue to
holiday
get paid.
pay. Well, they get paid.
But that's still part of their salary.
It's part of their salary, and you have to remember, while you guys are off on a holiday, those people are working.
I know, but if we're not off and they're working,
It's not a holiday. It's not considered.
they're working.
She wants to take the holiday
It's about
ordinance
$5,000.
and take off.
You get paid to be off a holiday, right?
No,
She doesn't want us to have the holiday anymore,
Right.
2 holidays anymore at all, the whole county, no
Oh,
holiday.
everybody, yes,
Yeah.
we're all on level playing
Yeah.
field, I understand.
Right.
How
It
many
would save
sick,
you about $5,000 in salaries for dispatchers, jailers, and deputies.
But it's a start. I mean, it's a little nibbles
Is
here
that
and
a
there.
fair cut?
well, how many sick days do employees
So
have?
our deputies and our jailers, everybody's
many?
gonna, they're gonna get a holiday off?
Nope.
No, nobody will. It's
No.
like a minute.
The government center and the courthouse would then be open 2 additional days that they're
Like-
closed right now.
Every other year they get
So
the
it would
election
take
day
2
off.
days.
Take away the
It
election
It would
day.
take 2 days away from your holiday pay because they are no longer getting that day off.
And then the rest of the employees will be working the same 2
Yeah.
days. Yeah, that's fair.
Like I said, they can do that to the election days. I mean, the clerk, you have the courthouse open, but she can close her doors to regular business because she's running the election. But the rest of the offices can be open. There's no reason why. It used to be in the old days, you had precincts in the courthouse and they closed them because they had voting in there. But now there's no voting in precincts in any of the government center or the courthouse.
So are the county employees, the non-public safety county employees, do they get if they're off that day, it's just a day off? You don't get
Part
paid,
of their
right?
work week.
You don't get paid.
Right, it's part of your work week.
It's not a paid day off.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna add 2 more days of pay onto their, so they're
No,
gonna get
no,
2
it's
days
part of
raise.
their, no, you get paid, they get paid to not be at work.
They do, it's a paid holiday.
I know, but you're saying it's,
If it's a paid holiday, then it's a wash for them, but you're
Right.
still cutting the others' salaries by 2 days of work, by 2 holidays.
but it's only every other year if you would take away the election because
Right.
you just wouldn't do it.
Hey,
at
we're
all.
cutting money. You're saying we're gonna cut. That to me is probably the least amount of cutting to hurt an employee is taking away a couple holidays.
Because you only got it every other year anyway, the extra 2 holidays.
Instead of laying people off. Well, I'd take all 4 holidays.
So is that what council is going to direct the commissioners to do? Since
And
it's a
if we have
policy
to-
issue?
To me, the ball's in their court. It was a suggestion, just like you said, it's just to me, another tool to help save money nickel and dime here and there.
I don't agree with it.
Of course not,
I think we should cut salaries of public safety employees.
but you rather cut everybody
They're
else.
not really cutting.
It's only a holiday every other day if
You're
it's,
just-
if it's the election. right?
No, you're just not.
You're cutting their holiday check. Instead of having a $5,000 holiday check, they're gonna have a, whatever, $4,800.
But if they take out the election day,
Well, we
election
don't
day is
get
only every other
holidays
year,
back.
so.
No, but you get the day off. They're here on Christmas, they're here on Thanksgiving,
Well, I
and
know.
away from their family.
Well, then they're gonna get paid for that.
Yeah.
They're
Get a
gonna
holiday
get a
check.
holiday.
They get a
Yeah,
holiday
They're
check.
gonna get a holiday. They're just not gonna get paid to take, they're not gonna get paid to take voting day off. Or work voting day. They're not gonna get paid time and a half to work
Like I
the
said,
voting
it's
day.
just 2 or 3 days, maybe they're not
They're
gonna
gonna
get
get
paid.
paid, regular pay to work that day, just like.
Swap
we are.
off the sick days for the rest of the county employees.
Oh my God, Daryl.
Don't even go there.
Yeah, they're getting paid, you're right.
And it's not gonna be.
But when they get their holiday check, it's gonna be however much dollars.
That's all right. It's just an idea. I'm just,
But it wouldn't be a big holiday, just a little one like voting.
So at the end of the year, when that holiday check comes, if it's $5,000, it's 40, it's this year, it's $4,500. That's $500 that you're not gonna have in your pocket.
Yeah. So, Tom, you'll look at that.
I think we're good with that. I still want to bring up longevity. What do you guys feel on there?
Well, longevity out of county general amounts to $55,600. County longevity for all employees amounts to $78,060. We can cut longevity.
Longevity was given though, as when there was no raise in a year. And that's what the thought of was, if you didn't get a raise, then you got longevity.
I know, Holly, but I'm moving in the direction trying to say layoffs, you know.
Longevity cut is an across-the-board, every employee cut, rather than just certain employee cut.
Yeah.
That's how it should be,
That's
That's
fair
not
to
what you just
everyone.
proposed.
That would be fair to everyone. Longevity.
I'm just, take them off.
Is there any other discussion on this?
You wanna put longevity in there? Into the cut? You're at 70, put longevity back in there, you're at 77,298 to be good.
I think we ought to leave it as it is. You're getting down to nickel and diming, and you still, like I said,
You have to advertise for these in
we
order
can
to make
advertise
these
later, because
cuts
those
if
don't
we have
get,
to.
they don't get their check till November.
You're right, the
We have
longevity,
plenty
we can
of
wait for
time.
longevity, sure, we can wait.
Let's wait for longevity.
But the other positions, this proposal has to be advertised.
Let's go ahead and move on. Let's get this done. Let's just stop talking about it. Go ahead, start going down the list, you guys, because that's what they want to do. Go ahead. Aaron, Daryl, go down the list. That's what you guys want to do.
We've got the list. You've
I know,
got
I'm
it.
saying, you said, Daryl said that he wanted to go over it, so let's just go ahead and get it started.
We're asking you guys to propose which ones you want to put back in. She said treasurer, we
I
put
said
it in.
treasurer.
Commissioner,
Commissioner what?
full-time employee.
Okay. Next.
What's the courthouse government buildings? Who's that?
Custodian.
Can't cut a custodian, can you? You only got 2.5?
I'm gonna tell you where I'm at. You cannot touch the full-time employee, you cannot touch the part-time employee. If you want that office open, it has to be. That part-time maintenance employee, I can go, we're good with that, we can survive without that. The part-time animal control, that deduction there, we're good with that. I don't know where else to go.
You're set. You was the last one there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No animal control. You're okay with, that was just a reduction. That was from our first proposal that we had at the last meeting. That was, you still have $4,500 in that fund.
Some small animal.
Okay, who's courthouse, government buildings, full-time? You said that's a custodian, and when you got 2
We only
custodians.
got 2, we can't do it with one.
I was gonna
There's no
say,
way.
there's no,
There's no way.
They do both buildings, right?
Yeah. We're taking out a part-time for them. You know, that part-time maintenance guy at $5,500. I agree with that. They gotta live without that, but that's it.
So, council, full-time employee, government, courthouse.
you have to keep in mind, if one guy's sick, you know, world's gonna go around. They got vacation time. You only got one guy doing 2, 3 buildings?
2.
Who does the
Well,
annex?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I consider that one whole complex.
We don't have that in a lot of situations. If you do go through your cuts.
I know, but somebody has to clean and repairs and trash and,
Bring the Board of Health in, they'll tell you what you're gonna do.
Okay, Larry.
With all due respect, area plan has been asked over the years. And Jeff, I know you've been present a lot of those meetings. I know Holly, you have. I think everybody else is kind of new. I think Daryl's heard a few. But over the years, you've asked me to give up my court money, $10,000. I gave up an employee through fruition, if you want, whatever that word is there basically. And I used the money that was left over to buy a car for the health department. Now I'm down an employee, and you've asked for my part-time help. Now you tell me you're gonna take my secretary. Does one of you want to come in and take care of that role? No, but I think I have a right to speak.
No, I said it'll be just you left.
It's gotten to the point where you need to do your job. And your job is finding the money to finance the county. And if it takes a tax, which you two said you won't vote for, is ridiculous, because you're gonna have to do something, or next year you're gonna be in the same situation as you are right now. How many people are you gonna let go? You're gonna shut the doors? I think you just need to explore a little more about putting a tax on. You can sit there and say, I'm not for a tax. Well, none of us is. But you've got to have some employees to work when you pay your taxes. That's what you're paying it for. And they're not paying you just to sit here and not saying it. You just need to be looking at what your jobs are to find ways and explore ways to bring tax money into this county. Yeah, you lost the boat money. You never had the boat money. It was a grant or a gift. That could be taken away anytime. It says so in the language when that will come through.
A mistake was made when they depended on that.
Well, then you should have done that. You're sitting there, you're part of council.
Yeah, I wasn't here then.
You're here now.
I am now, yes. And I plan on doing my job. And my
What is your job?
My job is to balance the budget with the money that comes into the county and try to see that everything is operating properly.
Then you better find a way to get money in here for next year and the year after. Because you're not looking down the road. Like Aaron said, you're kicking the can and you've been kicking it. Because in my budget, every year, I'm speaking, every year I've been asked, can you do less with this? Can you do less with this? Hey, you took my postage down to nothing. Last year we had to borrow money for gas. And good thing we had a year we didn't have any petition hearings. We was able to save some of our board members. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had anything. How many people in here are going to be looking for additionals this year? Probably quite a few. This ain't over. And it's your job to find this money. It might be next year before you get it, but you better start today.
That is our job.
That's correct. And you need to do your job. And right now, you're not going to look at far away. You're looking at today only. I heard that said a while ago, we're looking at today. No, you need to be looking at next year and the year after too. Because that is your job.
Still waiting for suggestions, additional suggestions. To get to a point where we can advertise for this.
This is part of our job right here. That's why we're here.
auditor,
But who's gonna come into my office and do my job?
you speak up.
If you guys can run rid of one of my employees, someone's gonna have to do that job. And I got a couple employees here. Do you think they wanna take on another job and get paid what they're continuing to get paid? It's a full-time job with a full-time duty of something that has to be done. I mean, I know you're saying this, and I understand what you're saying, but I still have to be able to do my job too. And run the election.
I'm gonna back the clerk up, because that's a tough job being clerk, taking care of the court papers, notifying all the parties in a civil suit, and then working with different judges, and again, prosecuting attorneys, and then you got the election on top. She can't afford to lose a deputy.
What's the balance you have to carry the top?
I can tell you in my office, I need that deputy. And at the end of the year, or they're very close to, I'm gonna have somebody retiring, so I won't have to fill that position by keeping that deputy employed.
For this year.
Huh?
For this year. What you're saying?
And I won't,
What you're saying, next year you won't fill it?
I will not fill it.
You wanna get your work done?
Yes, we had a part-time person, and that part-time person quit. I was going to rehire a part-time person, and I procrastinated. And the girls in my office were able to get everything done that they needed to get done, so it just showed me we didn't need part-time. And I can work with what I got now. And when that person retires, and I won't be mentioning names, but I need the deputy in there so that person or whomever that I select from my staff to fill that position, not an outsider, from inside.
That's when you're gonna feel the crunch.
We are, and we felt the crunch because we've had everybody's had a vacation this year. Unfortunately, we've had some sickness. We dealt with it by what we had in the office, and the work got done. We didn't miss a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if we got off track or where we're at and going down the list, but I will tell you now, I cannot afford to give up an employee in the jail. We are understaffed, as you well know now. I can't get out of jail. The secretarial staff is absolutely swamped down there. That handles all the paperwork. Most of the time, these people don't even leave the building for lunch. When you're dealing with constant demand and phone calls that come in, I just made a partial list of the things that sitting here that they do. They do sheriff sales for paperwork, but that's enormous. 1,500 slip of papers pass through there every year that have to be logged in and out of the computers. Somebody has to do payroll. They handle the abstracts for the court and sending off the inmates to the DOC. They have to contact the DOC and fax and send back paperwork to get rid of inmates. All court documents pertaining to the inmates and transport orders go through our office. They process about 125 gun permits a month. We are in charge of the sex offender registry for Franklin County by state law. We do record checks. Also, the two secretaries in there are deputized and routinely go on transports. As a matter of fact, we're so short-staffed that one of the secretaries, who is a former jailer, transported 2 female inmates this week by herself. So I haven't got anybody I can give up. There's a lot of work that will not get done, and there'll be certainly cut if that's the case. I remember many years ago when we said it in here that the old adage was we have to do more with less. Well, pretty soon you realize you're actually doing less with less.
So are we leaving longevity in, or are we taking longevity? Because that's two different figures. If we're gonna continue making cuts.
I personally think we ought to leave it in. That's part of their pay. You took away their HSA. I'm afraid we're going to have people leaving, and it's going to be topsy-turvy for the office holders. Probably won't have any office holders want to run anymore.
The consensus of council to leave longevity or take it out?
Leave it.
I make a motion that we leave longevity in for all employees.
Okay, Becky's made a motion to leave longevity in for the employees. Is there a second?
Where's it at if we take it?
Take it out.
How many, would that be 2 employee jobs?
If you take it out with the 2 employees that we put back in, a full-time employee in the commissioner's office, or I should say the commissioner's budget, and the full-time employee in the treasurer's office, that puts us at $63,000 to the good.
To the good. That's not counting
That's with longevity out.
and that's not counting our health.
I thought she was gonna address longevity at the end of the year, but it was messed up.
See, that's what we ought to just,
That's what I thought too, but
I just
If you
want to
leave
look at it.
if you leave longevity where it's at, we're still $4,000 in the hole. And every position that we take out of this proposal will put us further in the hole. At about $14,000 every time we do it.
Say it, son, you're thinking it.
Well, yeah, I'm okay. With the 2 there, put longevity in, we're good until the next budget cycle. Okay.
I'll rescind my motion and I want to say we deal with, huh?
If we get our insurance money, won't that deal with that too?
Could, for this year.
Yeah.
It's only gonna, that insurance money, when we think of insurance money, it's only gonna fix this year.
But then we're still taxes go on for next
It's
year.
Not that
cost-
much.
Cost,
What's that?
we're gonna work on that.
Is it tax?
Everybody's unemployed.
We talked about that in the beginning part of the meeting, Brian, that you missed, but yes, there was discussion of adjusting the tax rate, and it's not gonna generate the amount of money that we used from Cadget, and it's getting cut from the employee positions.
yes,
Okay, I'm gonna rescind my motion and rephrase it to where we deal with longevity, say in August, where we know where we're at with our finances. Settlement will be done.
at budget hearings, is that what you're
Right.
implying? Becky's made a motion to talk about the longevity at budget hearings in August. Is there a second?
Can I get some discussion in before you?
Yes,
for a
please.
second? I want you guys to know that we have just passed an ordinance, the commissioner did in the last meeting, that the longevity is paid by the partial year that employee has worked. So I'm sure it's gonna be that if you postpone it, you know, they'll all get paid up as far as they work. It's not, you don't get paid the full year. It used to be that when an employee worked January 1, they got the whole year. They got that year. We passed an ordinance to take that away. I think at the last meeting, is that right, Carol?
So it's prorated.
It's prorated. That's right. But I'm saying, if you think you're gonna stop the longevity later in the year, you're gonna get prorated right up to the point you stop. That's how I see it.
I'm not saying the motion.
Okay.
Sir, the floor is open for a second.
I got something to say. The health insurance, if they take the 200,000 and use that, we have the 400 in the CD for the health insurance. We use that to fund it if we get low in the health insurance.
Well, somebody should approach you, once everything's said and done, about which CDs or whatever to dissolve, to cash in. You have to figure out well, you don't make that much interest, so it's not like a big penalty if you cash them in early.
Seeing no second, motion dies. What Pamela says it.
Well, I'm Kevin Carter, reporter, and, you know, I have a little bit different budget than the other offices because I do have a perpetuation fund that is for the preservation of records and for my equipment. And so, my county general pays my 3 salaries, and $2,010 is what I get for office supplies, and I get $100 for travel and things, but I get fees. And I made this little spreadsheet because I don't think everybody understands my office is an asset to the county. I got a few that I can pass out here. There's a pile there. Yeah, one more. Okay, so in 2013, okay, so you want to take away my second deputy. I got my chart here for the last 5 years since I've been in office. And through my fees, I collected $107,000 last year. And that's divided up by IC codes, which is County ID Protection, which is my money to every document that we process through our system has to be redacted for the Social Security number. The official training, and that's for about 5 elected officials to take training because it's required. I put in that fund last year $2,000. So any of these 5 elected officials can use this fund to take training. So you don't have to use county general money. And last year I gave $61,000 back to county general. I had to pay the state $2,700. My perpetuation got $34,000, and the surveyor's perpetuation got $4,500 because that's code, because they have to do those cornerstones every year. And so I'm helping the county with that. And so you want to take away my second deputy. And I feel like we're an asset to the county, and I already pay 75% of my salaries. And so I think I should deserve a little credit for not taking away my second deputy. We try to run an office efficiently and for the county. We're here for the people of the county. Does anybody have any questions?
Keep your money.
Pardon me?
Keep your money.
Well, it's code. I have to do this. I have to do that. And I have some money in my perpetuation, but that is like my fund. If my copier goes out, I have to pay for that. The county's not going to pay for any of my equipment and my maintenance. I pay thousands of dollars out of perpetuation every year for maintenance agreements and for my equipment. And, you know, if I need a new server, you know, that comes out of my money. I don't use any money from county generals except $2,010 and my salaries.
I have a question, okay?
Yes.
Of that money you turn back into county general, at 61,321, that's all for salaries, right? Reimbursed for the salaries in the office?
It just goes into county general. I don't know how it's dispersed from there.
So it could be.
You know, Debbie?
We all take money over, we just give it to them.
I think it just goes into county general.
So basically, that pays, if you have in your office, you, first deputy, second deputy, and any part-time?
I have a part-time 1 day a week, and she comes out of my perpetuation.
Is that?
It's not on there because it's not part of county general.
You don't have to
So that, my 3 salaries total $81,824. And I pay, and I give you back 61,000, so I'm essentially paying 75% back to you, back to the county anyway.
Well, the $81,000 salary, which didn't add in per Social Security.
Well, I just added on what was on my,
PERF and Social Security and health benefits that aren't even in your budget because for some reason we have health benefits in the commissioner's budget. But the amount of money that they spend on the office for labor is a lot more than $81,000. PERF is almost 10.25%, and then you get over 7% for Social Security. We have a 17% increase just in them two items over there, so you're talking almost $15,000 more. And if you have 3 employees, and our average employee costs us $12,000, you got another $36,000 per thing. So you're really returning about 50% or a little bit less.
better than nothing.
I agree with you. This is nothing. Although those fees are charged to people that take advantage of your office.
You also have $34,000 in perpetuation there. That's what you had in your cash line, perpetuation.
Pardon me?
That line that says perpetuation, that's the cash amount that you had in that fund. So your salary for your second deputy, just for example, was $26,440. You have $34,000 in perpetuation.
But I
You don't
also,
have to pay for the health insurance, because the health insurance is paid by the commissioner, so you take that $12,000 off.
right. But I also, out of that perpetuation, have to spend thousands of dollars on my maintenance agreements, my equipment. I didn't make a total of how much I spent. You know, I might have one. So far this year, we get it. And that's just, so far this year, I've spent $22,000 so far this year. And so, I can't pay an annual salary out of my perpetuation that I get every year. Plus, the perpetuation fund is for the records and the equipment to do the records. It's not made for salaries.
Then why are you paying a part-time person on it?
Well, just because it's only 1 day a week, it's like $3,000 a year. And she does 100% working with the records. I don't have money in there to pay full-time salaries in a year. With $34,000 minus $12,000, well, at least 22, and there's going to be more than that. So the perpetuation is made to kind of make us take care of ourselves and not be dependent on county general for equipment and our software and all our agreements that we have.
Could you pay for half?
Pardon me?
Could you pay for half of the employee out of perpetuation?
Half of one? Well, that's going to leave me, I can't pay for half.
The county general can't afford that employee.
Well, I do this because it's code and I'm supposed to give you guys X amount, a percent, I'm supposed to give the surveyor some, the state gets some. So I feel like I'm helping the county, not hindering it.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the more I try to defend our office, and the more you're going to take away. So, but the $14,000 that you propose to take away, that doesn't reduce the position. That completely eliminates our part-time help. And by doing that, we are left with one secretary, and when we pay her time and a half, or we can't pay her time and a half because we give her comp time for all those hours that she's going to work over 40 hours, because there's no way to do this job and run that office without going over 40 hours, especially in the summer. And we're residents close our office for the last 3 months of the year because she's going to have so much time going up that we can't stay open. So, that's not a reduction, it's completely eliminating. We used to have 2 full-time, you know, we took half of that one, and now you're taking our summer college student that comes in and helps us get through the summer. Or more than the 4-H fair, or more than just 4-H. We have programming throughout the county all year long in ag and health and human sciences and youth development. We lost our project lead program that we did with this grade because we don't have the time to do it. So we're struggling now to get by. We've got 600 families in 4-H alone that rely on us. We've got hundreds of volunteers that rely on us. There's work that we have to do to keep all those people, make sure they're safe and our kids are safe. So if you take that $14,000 away, I don't know how we're gonna continue to operate.
I have a question, Andy. You have 3 full-time educators now. Contract's been signed, check's been written, correct? Or is it too late to reduce an educator?
The contract was signed
So we're contractually bound to keep 3 educators for this year, right?
and I know there's been talk about reducing that back to 2 or 1.5, but that's that's not just salaries. That doesn't even pay our salaries. That pays for our retirement. It goes towards our retirement, our health insurance, all that. You don't pay any of that for the 3 of us. Nothing. It covers our IT support, which is daily, basically. It covers our software, which is, constantly upgraded. So it covers a lot more than just having 3 full-time educators in our office. So it's not just our salaries.
Jeff?
I just had a question of all the council people dealing with extension. Aaron brought up we have 3 educators. Aaron's correct, we do have. But I want each and every one of you to think or tell me what each one of those educators do for everybody in this county. If we eliminate a job, possibility the jail's going to overflow. If we knock out nutrition, heck, there goes another department that somebody else is going to have to pick up. If we knock out our ag, our farmers are going to be really hurt. The ones that depend on them. I just hope that we don't have to do this last page.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here to talk about reassessment. Reassessment fund has helped the county over the years, just like Pam says. We've bought equipment, we've loaned like $350,000 a year, which I lost a lot of interest and stuff over the years. I do understand you have to cut. So when you're looking at cutting a deputy in my office, I feel like I'm making a deal with the devil, but would you be willing to let me take that out of reassessment, that deputy?
Yes.
For the last couple of years, we've been caught up, and that's because I've had the extra help. I'd hate to go back because it all starts with my office. If you don't get the assessments on time, you don't get your tax bills on time, then that causes problems on down the road. It's like a domino effect. However, if you allow me to do that, we will look at it each year because I know we don't want to run out of money on the reassessment. I also have turned in a bill this year for computer maintenance out of the general fund. It was over $17,000. And I'm wondering, I don't know if Steve knows, would I be able to move that over to the reassessment? Move some money in reassessment, and instead of taking it out of the general, take that out of reassessment. I have switched things up before on bills.
I have to check tomorrow.
You already turned in the bill?
You've already paid
I
it.
turned in a maintenance for $17,000.
But you have another one
You've already
coming?
paid it.
Please?
Do you have any more coming that would help general? Any more bills, maintenance bills?
No. But if I can move that to reassessment, there's over $17,000 that you can use to help with the general fund too. Can you check on that for me? I think I can remove it as long as, I have money appropriated in contractual services, that if I don't spend all that, I could move it over into another line item and spend that instead of taking it out of the general fund. And there would be 17,000 something.
You can move it back, you've already paid that bill, right?
Please.
You've already paid the bill, so you would say, move it back.
I just changed the paperwork on it, if that's allowable.
The bill has gone through.
The bill has went through and been approved to come out of the general fund on a line item. However, if I have money in
It's already been paid, it's already been paid.
Yeah. If you could save the 17.
But I don't have to do an additional appropriation to get that because I think I have 66,000 extra in contractual services because I thought I'd be signing my contract last year. And then they told us the first of the year, and they told us we couldn't sign a contract until we had to start July 1st of 2014. So if I can move that to another line item for computer maintenance and reassessment, then that would give you 17,000 more extra for the general fund, and I'd be willing to do that.
I think because the bill's been paid, that money can't be moved out of that line. Right?
But you can still reduce it,
I think
which you was to, by paying another bill out of the assessment. That's what I was
Sure,
saying.
you could reduce your office supplies, your other,
I've already given everything
I know,
except travel. It only amounted to 7,000 because most of my budget already comes out of reassessment. I haven't been helping the general fund for years, so I don't take a lot. I don't know why we probably should have taken computer maintenance out of general fund before. But I was concerned in prior years because general fund was doing bad.
you've already, when you sent your proposal in,
I'd already turned the bill in and it was paid already.
the assessor, you submitted
You don't have that much.
$7,050. So basically, you zeroed out everything but salaries in general, correct?
I think travel's in there yet, and I don't know how much is there, but I'd be willing to zero that out too.
Travel.
I think I got $800 in travel. I have very little left in general.
Unfortunately, I think because that bill for computer maintenance, there's 20,000 budgeted for computer maintenance.
Yes,
So there's another
well, that's,
$2,500 there for computer
I'll
maintenance.
give you that too. I'm kidding.
And then, but you're saying you can pay,
This is all reassessment, you guys. It's not all the general.
Veronica says I can do a deduction in county general and an additional in reassessment.
can you move that whole 20,000, even though 17,500 already was spent?
Even though I paid it out already, I'd be willing to do that to help somebody else out.
And move a deputy? And you're saying move a deputy also, right?
Please,
You're saying move a deputy and all this?
yes.
Thank you.
And then look at it in the coming years to see how it's doing, you know.
Figure it in.
Thank you
And
very much.
that's all I can do.
Well, that's
It'll
good.
help.
All right.
Did you capture all that? Did we capture all those numbers?
We're missing 20,000, 21,000.
We need to do a motion to advertise that.
Motion. We're missing 21,000 from Sharon.
Can she put the reduction in?
Oh, she put the, okay.
She
She can do that before, what, Monday?
Sharon,
Please.
you'll need to put, if you're willing to do that, you'll need to put a reduction from general for that salary, computer maintenance, and whatever else that you had in there that you're willing to move, that we didn't already move in your other proposal, to him by Friday noon.
We'll get it done. Okay.
Thank you very much.
So where's that put us?
We'll go right here. $17,000 to do this.
Should we go over our duties? Say, should we go backwards, area plan?
That's still with every one of these cuts.
Huh?
I mean, we're ahead now.
Right now we are. You saved one job.
Who is that? You saved the auditor's deputy?
I haven't heard a consensus from council saying, well, the only two I have taken out of here is a full-time employee in the commissioner's budget, a full-time employee in the treasurer's office. Those are the only two that I've had a consensus from the council to say, yes, take it out.
Did you take the, out of the assessor, did you take that from?
No, because that's coming out of general, it has to stay. It's gonna go to another fund.
Your assessor?
These spreadsheets only deal with general.
The clerk, did we save her deputy?
Yeah.
I make a motion that we save the clerk's deputy.
Becky's made a motion to save the,
Do we want to do an emotion form, or do we want to do
Or do you want to do it
just
all?
a consensus? If it's a nod, yes, or
Is that how you want to do it?
if we do a motion form, then later on down the road, there has to be a motion to change that motion. If it's just a consensus here, yeah, take it out. Right?
yep.
Yep.
The motion's a lot more permanent than just a nod of the head and I go to leave.
So Becky, you're wanting to leave the clerk's deputy.
Yes.
Is that okay with everyone? Yes.
Is it
So
my
now you got-
understanding that you're removing the jail board?
Yeah. Flush out.
The auditor wants to save his deputy?
Yep.
Since he's in training? Aye.
I am in favor of pulling the auditor's deputy, so long as soon as that position is open, it does get filled.
All right.
And we all have to agree to that. If Steve doesn't get reelected, that gets done at budget time.
Yeah. Right.
Because we very well could have an auditor come here. No, it's a whole other office. It's a whole other office.
No, it's not, right?
No,
Oh, it's not. I was wrong again. That's two times.
you're sleep deprived.
Time's dinner. So you keep your.
So now where are we at, dude?
For now.
Big auditor out? Steve, I'll ask you this before I push the delete button. You have your auditor ineligible deduction fund. How much do you have in there? Could you fund part of this position?
I don't think it'd be salary.
I don't think you can do a salary out there.
But you could cut some other stuff in your budget and balance it out.
I don't think it was much. I think it
Bargaining
was
here.
69,000, it was like 20,000 difference from Harlan or something.
Does anybody have the cash flow paper? Is that what's right? I don't have that.
Oh, shit.
I think I got one there, I'm on.
Should have, if you had from last meeting, you should have the cash flow, cash flows.
There it is. India.
No, that's.
No, 8,000.
8? I didn't look. We didn't look.
8,500.
Yeah.
If you have a cash down, $8,500.
Not me.
That's certified
That's me.
casualty?
Thomas.
Certified casualty?
No. It is authors and eligible funds.
It's slush fund. We never budgeted.
Are you willing to put $8,500, reduce your budget by $8,500
By using that.
and using that money?
You need to have, put a reduction, and I'll put that, I would agree to put your all in there.
Everybody else okay with that?
Yeah, he needs that person.
$8,000 back in the hole.
Courthouse employees, or courthouse maintenance, full-time employee, you have to have 2 maintenance people.
I'm apprehensive about pulling it yet.
Well, that's not you to decide. There's only 2 maintenance to do here, jail,
Jail
no,
has
courthouse,
maintenance.
and an annex. And taking care of all the other little buildings. That,
One.
4th Street,
Plus the HVAC.
Yeah, I give you my part-time. One cannot do all that.
well, and then they do the election stuff. So, I mean, these maintenance guys do a lot for what little pay one of
They
this.
they do the snow removal, they do the grass, they do the HVAC, that's all computerized, the HVAC.
They empty our trash.
They do,
We don't have to dump anything if we needed to. We don't dump
Where do we start, where do we stop? We're getting to that point right now.
I didn't hear you, Aaron.
So where do we start, and where do we stop? We're at that point right now.
I know.
Everything we add now is put us back in the red. We don't have any other, we haven't had anybody else say I can fund it some other way to help this out.
What's everybody's opinion on the maintenance?
My opinion is that we're in the red, so it needs to stay.
So you're willing to volunteer to clean trash?
do snow.
I don't know why every person that works in the office wouldn't at the end of the day take their trash out to the curb or put it in a garbage can or a dumpster that's sitting outside or wherever, however.
Well, who's gonna take care of the?
Why do you have to have somebody to pick up the garbage?
It's all the other stuff, Aaron.
I understand there's other stuff that gets done,
That's only probably 1% of what they do.
but snow removal could be contracted out. You're not paying somebody for health insurance and retirement. Grass mowing can be contracted. You're not paying somebody for health insurance and retirement. I understand it's a person. I understand it's a person. But there are other ways to fund this that you don't have those end run, you're not paying longevity for your contract. I don't want to cut any of these jobs.
Then don't.
Okay, then we won't cut any of these jobs. And come December, we're going to shut the doors because we're going to have enough money.
Come on, yes, we'll all be
Probably be bad, but they're gonna be quicker. How much? is
Just
the
put, we'll just put the
labor?
county under level 3 and we'll close the government center and everything else. We'll put it on level 2. That way everyone else can still go to work. I'm not trying to be obtuse, but these are decisions that you have to think about other ways and alternatives to do these things. The old way of doing business has got us in the hole.
Have you taken into consideration my transfer station employee that I'm gonna let go? Is there any way you can take that into the formula?
It's already in there,
Okay.
it's right there. We're cutting it now,
That's what you said, take it out, and the maintenance be,
but it's already out. It's already figured in. I actually zero to take it out, to take it away, to put it back in. Right now, it is already out. It's already figured into that total big formula.
Yeah, I just think it's obvious to me that these office holders cannot do what they need to do for their people they're responsible to without the full quota of personnel. I understand. I would not want to be one of you folks. I admire you to seek public office and do what you do. But there are some things that you really have, like, I mean, there's not an office that serves the county that can do without less people. They did a voluntary reduction for you. Extension, as an example, 4-H, you took 11.5, 7 voluntarily, and you took 45 from 4-H. And then you want, I think to me, it looks like from where I said, you blindsided these people by pulling this up, that you're going to cut their personnel without talking to them. If it comes to that point, I think you need to sit down with each office holder and say, what can you do, instead of sitting here spinning your wheels for 2 hours. And you've all said it, you've heard it, you need to find alternative funds. Aaron has talked about contracting some services. Not a bad idea. It's time to step up. So really, I mean, you're trying to bite the bullet tonight, but yet I don't think you're doing it the right way. And I think these office holders need to be commended to those that made the major cuts willingly without getting this dropped on just all of a sudden. And obviously they didn't know it from the reaction tonight. I don't think there's a soul here who knew it, but maybe you two gentlemen, whether you were going to propose this. So that's, and I've been in this county a long, long time, probably the oldest person in this room. And I've seen these battles and I've witnessed them. And again, I admire anybody that runs for public office. It's a thankless job. You have to do what you need to do, but yet there are ways to do what you need to do without things like that. Thank you. And that includes extension. I think if you're going to do it this way, you need to go to each one here that represents your office and ask them. Don't sit up there and voluntarily say, what do you think?
Dave, we did ask them. We asked them to come up with 19% cuts, which is tough. And I'm looking here at the list and I see 3 offices that came up to 17%. And none of the other ones came close.
Right here on the side, what those
We
officers
asked for their input.
actually sent in.
But did you ask the
My
person?
understanding was, when you proposed the $11,000 cut or $14,000 last time, we came back and went through the rest of our budget and found those cuts there, then this wasn't gonna happen. So I think, and then you did both. Because we cut till it hurt cutting $7,000 out of our office supplies and everything else. And we just figured we'll just do without stuff this year if we have to, in order to save our staff, because we cannot operate without our staff. We can't. So, and you're saying that that's 8%, but that is not, because 99,000 of that, we can't do anything about. You said it's a contract. We have a contract for our copy machine, we have a contract for our leasing, our computers, and for the educator. So we cut everywhere else, every other line item that we could cut besides travel, which we're already gonna run out of that, this year, for 3 people traveling all around the state and the county. Just going to meetings that we're required to go to and develop, professional development that we're required to go to. So we have requirements for our jobs too that we have to do in order to stay, trained and knowledgeable in our area. So, saying that we didn't cut, yes we did. We cut, I actually tried to give back 8,500, but you took the longevity back out. So, I try to give more, and that's not, doesn't reflect what I try to get back. But our understanding was, last time, you said you didn't feel comfortable cutting paper and office supplies. So that's why we went back to our offices and talked to everybody, like, where can we make cuts and where can we do without for this year, or try to do without. And I think everybody else kind of felt that way too, that when we came here today, because we made those cuts, you were going to, hack out all of our other employees.
How about if we eliminate county council's pay?
Can't do it. Against the law. But we could do it. We could do it. It would take one of us to challenge it.
Because I'm for it.
What about eliminating health insurance?
That's another thing I got in my car over here.
No, I'm sure they will.
County council health insurance. Is.
What's everybody's feeling while he's looking that up?
I checked a couple of years ago and it said, any elected person is entitled to health insurance if they want it.
No, I'm talking about the salary.
Like I said, I have very little.
There's nothing that says state board's not gonna come back and say they're gonna do it. But my opinion, I think it would take one of us to challenge it and sue the county for our money back.
We're not gonna be here forever. Somebody's gonna be off.
Council health insurance. $25,335. I will move that we cut council's health insurance.
I agree.
There's a motion on the floor to cut the county council's health insurance.
Okay. There's only a couple taken.
Is there a second? Darrell Kramer seconds. All in favor, say aye. Or raise your right hand. All opposed?
I checked. I went through this 2 years ago. Hours on the phone. You're elected. You're entitled to insurance. That's the state code. Tom Wilson give it. Well, I mean, I don't have it.
I voted against it, I don't know.
I abstain.
But if you're elected official, it's.
I don't have it. I don't know who has it.
Aaron, you said that it was state law that you had to pay the county commissioners, or county council had to pay.
The county council is no different than any other elected official. Once the salary's been set for January 1, we cannot change it.
Okay. You don't have to cash the checks, do you?
Nope.
And then at the end of the year, where does that money go?
Actually, I do have to cash it because they get direct deposit, but that's the point.
But that's easy enough. That's easy enough to change.
Am I willing to give my payback
Oh, I think
donation?
you are.
Yes, I am. And I will.
But I'm just trying to clarify.
I told my wife that last night when I was at 3 o'clock in the morning when she woke up and said, "Why are you still awake?" And I said, "I'm going to take my checkbook to the meeting tomorrow night and I'm going to write a check back every time I get a paycheck. Because it's not fair to me to cut somebody else's job when I'm sitting up here taking a check."
I agree 100%. Thank you.
So am I going to do that? You're damn skip.
It just amazes me, Aaron, that, you know, all you guys up there want to cut, some of these more than others.
It's $118 every 2 weeks. That is not enough
No, that's not what
to
we're
me.
saying. But yeah, not the show.
$118,
Everybody's
something like that. Sure, everybody's different. You know why? Because I get contingency for however many years that I've been on here. Other people get contingency for every year that they've been a county employee. Some of them are getting, not the contingency, I meant longevity. Longevity. There's, not all of us make the same wage, because we get longevity also.
May not be the right move.
I don't take the health insurance either,
No. I don't either.
so I don't think it's right.
I went over this. I went over
I'll take it, I'll pay one.
3 years ago.
Here,
you see where you're at here, if you save all the jobs that's in discrepancy as of right now, we voluntarily took what, 3 or 4
I've
positions?
cut everything out that we've agreed to cut out, and we're $7,000 in the hole.
No, I'm still saying, we want to save the county employees, the rest of those jobs, where would that put us?
We don't cut any jobs.
Besides the ones that we volunteered to do, you might say.
The assessor, what the assessor said, she would do her cuts, that's figured in here. We're now at 103,286.
And that's figure Steve deal in his office, right?
No, that's not figured in. I can put that. That's $8,500.
Aaron, is that in the hole?
Yeah, that's in the hole. And these aren't exact numbers because, remember, we're 4 months in.
I
So
know.
there's funds, just these funds and lines have had money cut from them. These are just close.
Hate to be repeating, but I'm gonna say again, take longevity, and if you're still short, take it out of the insurance. Put it to an end tonight.
I'm not with that longevity if that's what we need to do.
It's a little bit from everybody.
What's the rest of the council?
I still feel that we need to advertise for these cuts in case the insurance, we can't do that. I'm sorry, I'm not taking the commissioner's word that they say that we can be at $1 million and it's okay to put that. I want to hear it directly from the guy that does our insurance. I want him here at our meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
I told her to get it answered by email, first of all, first thing tomorrow if we can, to you guys. And then if you want him here in the meeting, we'll have him here in the meeting.
I think there's some other questions that after Mr. Andrew talked, that we probably have some more questions for him going forward.
But that's what Veronica was saying before, if we would take $200,000 out of that reserve, we've also got a CD that we can fall back on if we come short in the health insurance.
I understand.
Now, we're gonna drain a rainy day, because I can't go forward on this.
We haven't touched rainy day.
It has to be.
What's left at the end of the year? That's what goes into rainy day?
Rainy day, nothing's been put in rainy day for years.
What's always left at the end of the year?
That gets put back into the budget. That just gets to be cash for the next year.
I can't do this. That rainy day has to be 0. So see, why can't we use that rainy day and cut off what we're doing right now? Then we can't go forward on a levy up increase.
If we're all comfortable with thinking that that guy's gonna come in and say, or if a majority of us are comfortable with thinking that that guy's gonna come in and say, yeah, you can put $200,000 in there. I think we should put the assessors, we shouldn't do any of those cuts in personnel.
But that's a one-time deal.
Let the
Next year,
assessor have her,
we're
she
gonna
shouldn't have to take it out of reassessment. He shouldn't have to take it out of his auditors and eligible funds. And we should be back at the 176. We should advertise for that amount. When that guy comes in, he says, yep, all is good, we can use that money this year. Those reductions get turned away. We put that $200,000 into this, but we're still gonna have, this is not gonna go away because we're gonna have the same problem at budget time.
Right, so you have to get rid of that $750,000 rainy day to up your levy.
You're not going to be problem with longevity anyway. Either way you go, you're not guaranteed that you're going to cure that problem. You're losing. I agree with what your last statement is. That's what you ought to do right now.
I believe that it's a multiple step fix.
It is.
We have to stop the bleeding now.
It's still a combination. Becca's idea and your ideas come together.
We have to stop the bleeding now and work on a solution going forward.
I don't know why.
longevity? Or do we all agree on that?
Your consensus was if council trusted that those guys only get $1 million to $1.1 million in the insurance fund.
I'm okay with putting that back in there.
If
Plug in the hole.
consensus,
Yeah, that's all we're doing is plugging all.
One more idea from us out here.
Okay, hey, bring it on.
What about if you won't take all longevity, take away from all elected officials?
Can't.
Can't?
It's part of your salary. I asked that of State Board of Accounts before we made our last proposal before the last meeting. The one that Darrell and I put together before last meeting, that we all got up in arms that we were doing behind the door stuff again.
Wilson said we're good on the 200,000 too. So,
Unfortunately, I don't believe
I know.
I'm not taking Tom Wilson's word. I'm not taking Tom Lakeland's word.
it's not personal.
This is too important of an issue to take somebody's word.
Somebody make a motion to do what your last day was.
If you took the 8,500 out, what's your number?
I want to.
90-some thousand?
I just took 8,500 out, right? 94.
94, or you said longevity was 76?
Longevity is 55,600 for the employees in general. 78 countywide. So it's only going to get half. I'm going to move that we redo Darrell's motion, his original motion, when he put this piece of paper out, that we advertise for all of these reductions.
thought we weren't doing motions, but we're
Word of mouth, word of consensus.
consensus that
Well, I want to end this. Then we're done for the night. I don't want to sleep here. If I can sleep at all.
I agree, if we took out what we have, save them, the ones we could done cut, and then just, and do the other ones that you didn't cut out.
I say advertise. My motion is that we advertise exactly as this sheet is written.
We just went over it, it's like 2 hours on it.
You're right, we did.
So why do you want to do that?
And then, depending on what that guy says, then we can make that decision of how many positions we're going to cut or not cut at that meeting on April 1st. But if we don't advertise for these, we can't cut anything April 1st. Is it going to be tense in the courthouse? Yes. For all those employees that are on this sheet, whether they know they're going to have a job come April 1st, yes, it will be. But unfortunately, because of legal advertising requirements, we've got to advertise for these, or we can't do anything with them.
Okay.
motion's on the floor.
Is that true, Steve?
Motion's on the floor to advertise the employee job reductions. Can I say something? We do discussion.
Okay. All right. This is scary, and I don't want to worry people for a moment. If it comes back bad, okay, on April, you know, the insurance person, then 2 weeks, then we can do it a special meeting. We have to advertise.
Then you're gonna lose 4 weeks of payroll. You're just,
No.
then every job you put
It'll be
back
4
in,
weeks.
or every job you cut, yeah, you will, because it's, you're 2 weeks now, and then 2 weeks additional. If you have another meeting, you're just adding 4 weeks of payroll back into this, that you're losing, and when you figure these in, you're losing that amount of money.
I mean, keep everybody.
You're right, Ron.
Is there a second or is this? Gerald Kramer has seconded. All in favor of advertising it as presented, raise your right hand. All opposed?
I understand.
but 2 weeks.
Advertising you cut out. You made a deal with Sharon.
Make a motion.
I make a motion then that after all this, that what employees, and God love you, that they haven't cut out or say be posted, because we sat here all night and worked with Sharon. And some of these jobs are, you just can't do this to these, to this office, this elected official. So my motion is that the rest of the ones that were, take out the ones that we saved,
I'll tell you what those are.
And the balance.
Ready?
that he can advertise.
Auditor.
These are the ones that were saved, right?
They're taken out.
Reassessment.
Clerk. Commissioners, full-time employees. Treasurer. Deputy.
The assessor.
The assessor, we're cutting it from general, and she's moving it to reassessment.
Yeah.
It does.
It has to stay in there. She's taking care of that.
So Becky, your motion is to post this in the auditor's office, or what do you?
Well, you said it has, motion has to be, you have to advertise, right? For the reduction?
Oh, you're saying to advertise
The ones that said we're
the rest of it.
Right.
Okay. Becky has made a motion to advertise the employee job reductions with minus the ones that have been saved. Is there a second? Darrell Kramer seconds. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries.
That's okay. That's,
We advertise again, we do the process again, the department heads have a chance to call in.
What's that,
The
Elaine?
department heads have a chance to call in.
Yes.
April 1st, our next meeting, when it'll get voted on for the final cut.
now, can we make a motion to cash in the $750,000
Can't tell the treasurer what to do with it.
rainy day?
That's up to her. She has that authority.
Well, if you want me to go with this appeal, it has to be done.
That's interesting. I know that's a process, but don't that sound kind of weird? Delete all your funds, appeal.
Well, that's why they want a levy increase, so you don't have anything to fall back on. That's one of the questions it asks. That's one of the things that says, do you have a rainy day fund? Yes, we do. Well, too bad you don't need a levy increase.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I don't line up.
You know, you're not gonna have it anyway, Darrell.
Is there anything else to come before council?
Motion to adjourn.
Aaron's made a motion to adjourn. Second. Joe seconds. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carries.
Everybody.